Yes, good morning. Is it still morning? It is still morning, isn't it? Good morning. Happy Friday. Sorry, I'm absolutely freezing. I've just turned the heating on, realized it wasn't on. Absolutely bloody freezing. And for some reason, Lionel Messi is not in shot. Let's get him in there as well as my man David. How are we all doing? How we all doing? It is Friday. Spurs are playing on Sunday, which means we have a couple of days of rest, which means that teams will play tomorrow, probably go above us in the table, and everyone will start going, oh, we're 13th or we're 14th. Sack him. Get him out. Get him. And yeah, it will all be good fun, won't it? Yeah, apologies for being late. I've had a new phone arrive this morning, and what a ball ache it is setting up a new phone. Oh, you don't realize how happy you were with how your old phone was set up, right? Passwords, pass keys, apps, logged into everything. And then suddenly you set your new phone up and it's like, do you remember your password for Amazon? Oh, no. Do you remember your password for your bank? No. So I've just spent like 2 hours. Password reset, log in. Is this you? Biometrics with my fingers and my thumbs and my face, and with Revolut, it was, oh, we can't see that it's you. Could you take a photo and send it to us? Oh my God. Oh my good God. Anyway, we'll continue that later. I'm just having a little moan, and I'm having an old man moan this morning. I'm like, oh, this is long. This is boring. Everything. Anyway, how are we all doing? Yes, how are we all doing? So, Tottenham Hotspur, we have Nottingham Forest, don't we? We do. We have Nottingham Forest on Sunday. Interesting one. And somebody has said, yeah, okay, jersey. So, okay, jersey for football and sports clothing. I'll leave you to go and find the website. But if you do want to have a look on there for football and sports clothing, go to OK Jersey and just type in the code Savva for 8% off at checkout. So it's there. It's up to you. Yeah, Nottingham Forest, interesting one. I keep hearing, do you know what? Somebody messaged me yesterday, you know, like the comments you get on YouTube after the show. And it said, they said, go to this time in your chat yesterday, you're really negative about Spurs' chances of beating Forest. And the bit that they actually highlighted was where I said, I just don't feel like we should be that arrogant that we can just rock up and beat teams 3 or 4-0 like Nottingham Forest. And they said, oh, they're crap. We should be battering them. And I'm like, okay, well, for a crap team, they've lost 2 games in 10. I mean, it's not like 2 defeats in 10 we're making out like they lose every week. And again, I'll talk about this in a bit more detail throughout this show, but I feel like this is where a lot of Spurs fans seem to be very confused with what we are as a club. I know our name is big, but we sit there and we go, oh, Forest, yeah, we'll just batter them 4-0. And then, then we'll play Burnley. We'll beat them 6-0. It just frightens me a little bit. It frightens me a little bit, just the childlike nature of people that just think, listen, I'm not saying, I didn't say we won't beat Forest, by the way. All I said was, I don't think it's going to be an easy game. Yeah. They're going to be hard working. They're going to be organized. But yeah, like, and I thought it was just one message. And then later on, I got another message from someone else where it was like, they just said, oh, we'll batter them 4-0. And I was like, oh, cool. But I'm not going to say that. Like, I feel like people say some really crazy things. And I know what it is. It's the same thing as always, right? If you turn around and say, oh, we're going to get battered 4-0, yeah, then your expectations, if you get a draw or a win, you're like, oh, I'm really surprised this happened. If you say we're going to win 4-0 and we don't, it allows you to go, well, see, Frank's crap. Yeah. Spurs are crap. See, Spurs are crap under Frank because we didn't batter Nottingham Forest, right? And that is what I see people doing. And what makes me laugh about it is all the people that are Frank Doubts or Frank Out and all these people that have to label themselves. They're all the ones going, yeah, 3-0, 4-0 Forest. And you're like, yeah, you're only saying this because if we don't win 3 or 4-0, you can turn around and absolutely berate the manager. I think this is going to be a tough game. I think this will be a 1 goal either way or a draw. I don't think this is going to be domination. Now, if it is, brilliant. But it's going to be a tough game. Nottingham Forest this is a team that beat Liverpool 3-0. Then they lost to Everton 3-0. I don't know what to expect from Nottingham Forest. What I do know is it's going to be a tough game. I've seen someone this morning call it the Ange Postecoglou derby, which I thought was pretty funny. By the way, if anyone who has my number would like to join the show, then you are more than welcome. If anyone has my number, if you don't have my number, then that means you're not going to join the show. But if anyone does have my number and would like to join the show, just chuck me a WhatsApp right now, just while my phone is syncing some more apps or whatever is going on there right now. Yeah, the Morgan Gibbs White derby, the Ange Postecoglou derby. Yeah, I don't know. Look, it's going to be a tough game. A good win for Forest last night. I haven't seen any. I was out last night, so I haven't seen any football, any YouTube channels. I haven't seen any actual football or anything. But I saw that they won last night. I think Villa won as well. And yeah, I think this is going to be a difficult game. So we'll talk a bit more about that as the show goes on. Also, I want to talk about Semenyo, the reports that are coming out this week. Oh, hang on, somebody wants to come on. Oh, let's do this. Right, hang on. Oh, hang on, this is going to be a pain in the butt. Let me continue as Richard. Yeah, sorry, 1 second. Yes, I'm in. Hang on. Oh, God, I'll see. StreamYard, you see. Hang on. Bear with me. Oh, hang on. I think I've sorted it first time in my guess. Yeah. Okay. There's the first person who would like to come on. There we go. Let's send that over there to Rain. Big up to you, my man. Yeah, it's one of those ones where every single app I'm having to re-log into. Anyway, so Semenyo this week, a lot of the ITKs of all ITK, I don't know. Whatever you say happens, right? Big up to my man, by the way, Philly. I did message you, so if you wanted to come on, you're more than welcome. You didn't message me back. Benji, you're more than welcome as well. Let me know if you want to come on. Just chuck me a WhatsApp, people. Yeah, lots of the in the nose, so to speak. A lot of the reputable sources are saying that, look, Semenyo would favour, shock horror coming up here, would favour a move to Arsenal, City or Liverpool. Shock horror. And still I see people going, no, I reckon we can convince him. And I'm like, I don't know. I've said this all the way along, right? I've said this all the way along. Sorry, let me just find you. I don't want that, or that, or that, or that, or that, or that. I don't want any of that. I've said this all the way along. I think we get Semenyo if no one else goes for him. Like, I mean, if Liverpool, City, or Arsenal don't go for him, I think the moment we go up against those bigger clubs, I can't see why he would join Spurs. Now, I get people messaging me going, oh my God, you hate Spurs. You're so negative. I'm just realistic. If you are Semenyo, I don't know what the driver is. Let me just send this to Philly as well. If you are Semenyo, what is the driving force to say, I don't want to go Liverpool, I want to go Spurs? Now, I know Liverpool right now are in a bit of a funk, aren't they? They're in a bit of a funk, but it's Liverpool. Whichever way we look at it, it's Liverpool, right? They are one of the biggest clubs in world football. They win leagues, they win Champions Leagues, they win trophies galore. I can't see why he picks us over them. Now, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to go for him. However, our mate Mo Salah may have changed the game. He may have changed the game on this one. If Mo Salah, I mean, I know I heard that he was having crisis talks with Arne Slot today, and I don't know, but it looks like that journey for Mo Salah at Liverpool is coming to an end, and Semenyo seems like a really good option for them, right? He does, and I don't know. Listen, when I talk, I just try and offer theories out there, and I try and look for the obvious. I look for the realistic stuff, right? It doesn't mean that's what I want to happen. I would love that Spurs go into a three-way tie with Man City. I just spitballing. Man City, Liverpool, and Spurs all go in for Semenyo. I don't think we get him. I genuinely can't. I genuinely can't see why he picks us over them. These clubs are serial winners. These clubs are massive. These clubs will go, yeah, we're buying you. And also in the window, we're going to buy him and him and him. And we're just not that club. We're not. And whilst we need the new owners to get us there, I just can't see it. I listen, we also know as well, it's really important. Yeah, big up Ben, big up to you, my man. How are you? Long time no see. I hope you're well, buddy. Much love. Yeah, I mean, Bournemouth have got there's a release clause, right, with a date on it. I don't know what the date is, but I'm guessing it's going to be just spitballing, maybe the 10th of January, that says, right, we'll sell him by the 10th. So that we've got the money to then go and Bournemouth are a good club. Bournemouth will have players in mind that they want to go and get, right, to replace Semenyo. So they're not silly. So look, it's all a knock-on effect. But right now, I like Semenyo. I was one of the people in the summer when they were saying, oh, they want 70 million, and people are going, oh, I wouldn't pay 70 million for Semenyo. I'm like, yeah, you pay that money. You pay it. You go and drop that money, and lots of fans didn't seem to want him. Then he's had a really good start to the season, and everyone's like, oh my God, it's got to be Semenyo. I'm not that guy. I don't think it has to be Semenyo. I think there are loads of good players out there. Very different players, very different skill sets, but there are. You've got players like Lookman. You've got players like Antonio Nusa. You've got players like Malik Fofana. You've got, Undai. At Everton, I don't know how gettable is he. I don't know him. I don't know his situation. I don't know how much Everton would want for him. So all of these different players, I want to see, right? Here's what I want to see, guys. And I've said this all along. If Tottenham are serious as a club, if we're serious as a club, I just want to see that there's a plan. So if it's not Semenyo, right? What's the plan? Who are the two or three after Semenyo, right? Because listen, I want to be sitting in here, right? I want to be sitting in here saying in January, saying, I can't believe we signed Semenyo. That's what I want to be doing. Listen, I would love to, I can say this, I would love to be wrong on this one. I would love to be so painfully wrong on this one. I just don't think I'm going to be. If I'm wrong and Spurs sign Semenyo, fair play. If we don't, right, who is it? That's what I want to know, right? For me, I think Lookman makes the most sense, right? I think Lookman makes the most sense from an experienced point of view, from a numbers point of view, in terms of what he would cost, what we could pay him, but a numbers point of view from his output as well. For me, he seems to be a no-brainer. Now, a lot of people go, oh, he's a bad egg and bad attitude. I heard this about Grealish. He's getting on just fine. I heard this about Rashford. He's getting on just fine. I heard this about Garnacho. I've not seen any issues with his attitude. I hear this all the time. Attitudes. But these players seem to go on and do okay, don't they? These players seem to go elsewhere and do okay. Heard it with Anthony. Left Man United, looks good. Hoyland, so for me, I would definitely be looking at a Lookman. No pun intended. I know there's a lot of people that, again, there's short-termism as well. With Savio, for example, everyone wanted him. And then this season, he's not starting games for Man City. And now it's, oh, no, he's crap, he's rubbish, I wouldn't want him. If you got Savio into this team and let him play, not like what happens at Man City, where he gets 10 minutes at the end of a game and we all go, oh, he hasn't done anything. I think if you bought Savio, by the way, I'm not saying it's my first choice, I'm just saying, I think if you bought Savio and said, hey, you're our main man, you're going to play week in, week out, you're our main left winger, you're going to play every game, I think you see a very, very different, very different Savio. I think sometimes we really underestimate how playing games can affect you or not playing games. So Savio sits on the bench most of the time for Man City. When he comes on, everyone goes, oh, he hasn't done anything. You're like, well, it's difficult. You're getting 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. What would he do if he was playing 38 games a season, guys? Left wing, Savio. I'll bring you in 1 second. Savio, Lookman, Fafana. There's options out there. I mean, Benji, morning. How are you, sir?
Hello, mate. I'm not too bad. How are you, bud? You all right?
I'm good. Look, you got the old Christmas decks going up. I like it.
It's everywhere, mate. It's everywhere, bud.
Oh God, Christmas. Oh yeah, yeah. Christmas is. It's like someone's thrown up like happiness, isn't it? In Christmas time.
Yeah, it's nice. I'm done. By the way, I'm done with Christmas. I've got nothing left to go and get. I'm first time my whole life I'm finished early.
Oh, good. Yeah, I think I'm nearly there. We're hosting Christmas though. We're hosting, I think, 15 people. So yeah, I'm thoroughly looking forward to that day of
Jeez,
anyway. Yeah, but sorry, this week I've seen a lot about, we'll talk about Forest in a minute, but I've seen a lot about Semenyo. He seems to be the hot topic across transfer news at the moment. Do you see a world in which Semenyo picks us over?
No, I don't, mate. No, I don't. No, do you know what? I've heard that there's already been initial discussions with Liverpool. I think it was Plattenberg. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah, I don't think there is any chance of that happening. You'd like it to happen, but realistically, and we do have to be realistic here, why would you pick Spurs right now when you've got, teams like Liverpool coming in for you, so on and so forth? I don't know, pal. I don't know. Yeah, tough one. Yeah. I would have loved him at the club, but
it's difficult, isn't it? Like I know a lot of people will just immediately say, "Oh, typical Spurs," but I won't blame them if we don't get Semenyo. It's not something I can hold against the owners, because realistically, listen, I always say there's two sides to me as a football fan, right, Benji? There's that child-like mentality of Spurs are the best and everyone should sign for Spurs and I love Spurs. And then there's that adult side of me that goes, well, we're not Arsenal, we're not Liverpool, we're not City. I get it if the big players don't want to join. So do you think, though, that our fans are just going to go against the owners if they don't get Semenyo, or does this mean that the owners have to show us something different? If it's not Semenyo, they've got to have a plan, right? They've got to show us.
Yeah, for sure. No, do you know what, Sav? To be fair, I would say most sensible fans will understand the fact that there is a pecking order And this is real life. This isn't
I'm just
Football
getting my
Manager.
water. Give me 5 seconds.
Yeah, man, go for it. You know, there's a pecking order, and I think most of us know that. And as much as it is hard to accept, we aren't top dogs right now. So it is what it is. I can't help but feel we should maybe look elsewhere. But for me, as long as the board, you know, the club as a whole have plan B and plan C, I don't mind too much. All I don't want is to bring in a panic buy. We need to make sure we bring in someone nice and solid for that left, you know? So here's hoping.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, Philly, big up to you, my brother. How are you?
Big up my brother from another mother. I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing, Benji? I hope you're well, man.
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Right. Yeah, I was just listening to your case in point,
if we had
Savva.
the same mother, wouldn't it? It would be strange if we had the same mother. Can you imagine?
Well, you know what I mean? Well,
like
good, well, like-minded people, you know what I mean, Savva? What can I say, bro? It's like, it's like the words that I say, yeah, coming out of your mouth, you know what I mean? I don't know what it is, man. It's just like telepathy, you know, them ones there.
Well, talk to me then, Philip. I mean, look, it's funny because I can't remember who it was earlier this week, but somebody posted the obvious. It was the obvious. It was Semenyo favours a move to boom, boom, boom. And it started off fans going, oh, but he must, and we must put the money down, and we must. Are we in La La Land if we think we can compete with Liverpool and City and Arsenal for players right now?
Yes. Yes. There's a list of teams here, right, where we are right now, yeah. I'm looking at where we should be shopping with the likes of Aston Villa and Newcastle. That's where I believe Spurs should be shopping. Right, and if it became a toss between Liverpool and Newcastle for Semenyo, for example, yeah, he's going to choose Liverpool because they're closer to winning a trophy. He's closer to accomplishing something successful at a club. So therefore, he's likely to go there than he is to go to Tottenham Hotspurs, where he's not going to win a trophy in the next few years. So you have to understand there's a pecking order. And like I always said to you, Savva, yeah, life finds a way of telling you there's a pecking order thing. And there's always a bigger fish.
No, of course, mate. And I think, welcome, Rain. I think the interesting thing with this, though, Philly, is like straight away, like Boasted has said, how can we compete with them with our owners? But I don't see. Listen, let's be brutally honest. If right now somebody said to Spurs, 65 million is the release clause, he's yours. Our owners will pay it. Like, our owners will pay it. We will pay him 200 grand a week. That's not the problem. I can't blame the owners if this one doesn't happen, Philly. And I know we want to blame the owners for everything, and I will blame them. You know, I will for
of course
where I think they should. But I don't see that this is our owners. I think if you go to the table, if they all had a meeting like this, right? So let's say the four of us here. Let's say Rain is representing Man City, Benji's representing Arsenal, you're representing Liverpool, and I'm representing Tottenham. Right. And we're all trying to convince his agent, right? We're all trying to convince his agent as to why you should come to that club. What is it that I've got that you three haven't? Like, what is it that I'm actually going, but Tottenham, like, I don't blame the owners for this. If this doesn't happen, I don't.
No, this one is not on the owners, yeah. And the fact that where Spurs are as a football club, yeah, it's not exactly a club that good players, the top players, yeah, are looking at and thinking I can further my career at Spurs, yeah, and actually be successful at Tottenham. That's not on Daniel Levy. That is where I agree with you, Savva. Yeah, there are a line here that I blame Daniel Levy for the stuff that he did. But I will not blame him for when they cross over the white line. That's now on the manager and on the players on the pitch. And as a team here, we have not been looking like we're going to compete for honours. So therefore, why would a player look to sacrifice his career, go to Spurs here when they're not competing for honours?
Yeah. And big up to my man, Dylan. I mean, look, the fee I don't think is an issue. For Spurs at the moment, I don't think the fee, unless we're talking ridiculous players, fees aren't the issue. We've got money. We can pay good wages. you're right. If the player doesn't want to come, the player doesn't want to come. And Sam, I see what you're saying, buddy. When you're saying get Solanke and Kudus, convince him and offer him 250 grand a week and tell him he's the face of the club, dude, you know, tell him Wharton's son, mate, first and foremost, Arsenal will have players that he might know that can convince him. City, right? Second of all, 250 grand a week. Those three clubs can all pay him 250 grand a week. The face of the club. What does it matter? I mean, if Man City went for him and you said, oh, you're going to be playing with Erling Haaland, right? You're going to be playing with Rodri. You're going to be playing with Phil Foden and Rayan Cherki. Or you're going to come and play with Solanke and Richarlison and Brennan Johnson. Mate, this is the problem, Sam. When I say about football fans, I'm not having a go, but this isn't like me when I'm a kid.
This is reality, though, Savva. This is the reality of the mess that we find ourselves in, and this is what I've been saying for so many years. Because of the players that we've got, good, decent players will look at that and think, no. I remember years ago, I think Rabiot said it, and Savva, you know me and Rabiot already. I can't stand Rabiot, the worst player I've ever met. The worst player I've ever seen, actually. And you know I don't like this guy.
He's not the worst player. Come on, he's not.
Oh, come on, Savva. I can't stand Rabiot.
Mate,
that man there, yeah, I've said it to Stashmore Steve. That man there, disgrace.
He walks into our midfield.
First and foremost, years ago, he actually wrote down, he goes, I would go anywhere else here but Tottenham Hotspurs. Right, and I remember that quote. He said it, and I thought, even if you're linked to that man, please do not sign that guy, because no way do I ever want to see that at Tottenham Hotspur. Right, but one time, when a man like that can turn around and say that, and he's not even the first man to say that, then there's something severely wrong in the outlook of the club to outside players. They're looking at the club and thinking, why would I want to step down to that when I could actually go and win something at the club I'm at? Or I can go somewhere else and win something at another club.
Yeah. So if I'm Man City and I'm trying to persuade, so I'm Man City, right, which is great. I'd love to be that. And I'm trying to persuade Semenyo. My biggest challenge is Doku, right? That's my biggest challenge in my discussion with Semenyo. Now he may well fancy himself. He may well back himself to step up and take on Doku for that left hand spot, because I do think that's where Semenyo's best. I know he can play both. I look at this and I do think if I was Semenyo, I'm looking at Liverpool. I'm not looking at.
Oh, that seems the obvious one, Rain, doesn't it? I mean, Liverpool seems because other than Salah. Do Liverpool have, I know this sounds strange, Liverpool have got loads of forwards and attacking players, loads. But have they got out-and-out wingers other than Salah?
No, I mean Gakpo does it, doesn't he? But he wants to play inside forward.
Yeah,
he wants to play like, he wants to play like 9-10. That's where Gakpo wants to play. He doesn't want to play out here and then come in. He wants to play sort of on the edge of the... I'm on the edge of the 6-yard. If you draw a line from the 6-yard box out, that's where he wants to be. It was actually where Xavi really wants to be, right? Everybody talks about him as a 10, but actually he wants just like 5 yards either, 5-10 yards either side. So do Liverpool play with wingers? Out and out wingers. Salah just does what Salah does, right? Salah just does what Salah does. I'd argue that Semenyo would fit in just fine. I did see one comment: is Semenyo actually that good? Trust me, dude. I'm not going to say who did it. I have lots of really positive discussions with him. When we were linked, when there was lots of talk about Savio in the summer, and Semenyo was mentioned, I was like, I want Semenyo, and I'll tell you why. It's because for the last 2 or 3 seasons, the last couple of seasons, I've seen Semenyo come to White Hart Lane, and I've seen him play with my eyes. And he was, even then, he was clearly a beast. He was one of the very few players who I literally like. You know, can I borrow your program? I don't know who this guy is. I'm going to check. Right, okay. I'm going to remember his name because he was that good. Yeah, he was absolutely class.
It's the pace and power, isn't it? When you watch Semenyo running, it's his pace, and the power that he has on the ball. You're looking at players around him and you're thinking, you can't take the ball off him. He's just that powerful, that when he's running at you. And he is perfect on the left-hand side. But you know how you're saying that, I said it last year, Liverpool should have sold Salah in the summer because that was the best time they'd ever get money for the Salah. They should have sold him in the summer, last summer. But for Liverpool, I would be looking at a right winger. Because if Semenyo is better on the left-hand side, why would you be looking at Semenyo when it's the right-hand side you need to get to replace Salah? Because he's playing on the right wing.
Absolutely, and Semenyo's form's dropped just a little bit. And do you know what it's coincided with it? Do you know what that drop in form has coincided with? He's gone over to the right-hand side, and because he can play both sides. It's not just his. I'm absolutely clear that what I've seen from Semenyo is he's one of those players. He will get better with better players. Some players have already reached their ceiling and that's it. Whereas I'm absolutely clear that he will perform better.
I think, Rain, the key thing as well though is, when we talk about definitive positions, for me, I don't think a club like Liverpool or a club like City actually look at a player and go, right, you only have to play there. I just think they want options and they want top players. So, for example, I think if he goes to City, you can go right. You can play right. You can play left. You can play centrally. If Haaland has to come off, you can go through the middle. They just want options, right? And the same with when people, I like it. Like Sam Collins in the chat. I love you, dude. You're always in here. You're a good lad. But you say things as though this is Football Manager. Like you're saying, oh, well, if he comes Spurs, he plays every game. He doesn't at the other clubs. Well, first and foremost, you don't know that's his driver. Like, if that was the driver, none of these players would join Man City, Liverpool, or Arsenal, would they? If that was the driver, Eze wouldn't have joined Arsenal.
Absolutely.
Because he knows he's up against Odegaard. He knows he's up, right? If that was the driver, Mosquera and Hincapi wouldn't have joined Arsenal. These players want to play with top players and they want to be in the mix of things. And that is why Pep Guardiola, for years, his biggest strength has been his man management of players that don't play. He has squads of talented players. You look, he's got people like Marmoush on the bench. Marmoush can't get in the Man City team. He goes to probably every other Premier League club and is a guaranteed starter. At Man City, he has to wait his turn. He has to sit on the bench. He has to, right? And this is where, as fans, I think that we look at everything so black and white that, but he'll start every game for Spurs. Yeah, but he's going to have way more defeats in a Spurs shirt than he is in a Man City, a Liverpool.
Savva, I'm not going to be nasty at Tottenham Hotspurs, but this is something I've been fighting against for years. I don't want players comfortable thinking they can just rock up here, have a bad game, and the next week, because of the options on the bench here, they can play the next game. Because that's a bad mentality that you can just have a bad game today and then knowing that you're playing the next game. And players at Man City, they're always sharp because they know there's competition for their places. They know if they have a bad game today, they're not going to play tomorrow. So they're going to see bench time, and then they're going to learn from that, not to play that way and learn how and experience that this is the consequences of playing a bad game, that you're going to be dropped.
Yeah, but fellas, can I interject you? Right, maybe we're downplaying ourselves a little bit. I mean, look, I'll play devil's advocate for a second.
Go on.
Look, we are currently European champions, right? We would guarantee him a start.
Would PSG not have something to say about that statement?
No, I get that. But right now, look, we're Europa League champions. Okay, that's something. You've got to hold on to it. Right? You've got to hold on to the good sides of things.
Okay, go for it.
We've got one of the best stadiums on the planet, the best training complex on the planet. There is a reasonably exciting project going on at Spurs. And then you've got to think about this. We potentially are automatic qualification for Champions League knockout stages. These are fairly big things to take into consideration. I'm not saying we're of the same level as these other clubs, but sure. I'm not going to downplay us completely. We are still quite an attractive proposition, I think.
So let me respond to that then. Listen, whilst I love the positivity, right? Whilst I love that, the problem is these other clubs don't have projects, right? These other clubs don't have to go to these big players and sell a project. They go to the club and go, we're Liverpool. Like, do you know what I mean? Liverpool will rock up and go, this is Liverpool. We win shit, right? This is Liverpool. We win shit. We get shit done.
Well, look at Ekatike in the summer.
Hang on. This is Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. If Pep Guardiola rocks up to Semenyo and says, let's have a chat. Like, you know, Antoine, let's have a chat here, right? Guardiola, the greatest, arguably the greatest manager of all time. I'm not getting into that debate, but he's in the conversation as the greatest manager of our generation of all time, right? Man City go, well, God, yeah, look what we've won. Look what we win. Look, we go to the Bernabeu. We rock up to the Bernabeu and we just win. Like, do you know what I mean? We're Man City. Arsenal will go, well, we're not in a project. We're coming through the other side of that project. We're now the finished article. Now we're ready to get over the line. Now, I'm not saying they will, but I'm saying that's their pitch to Semenyo. Mm. What are we pitching? All right, we've got a lovely stadium. Let's be brutally honest. So does Arsenal, right? Anfield is Anfield. It's a fortress. You know, Man City, it's, you know, the Etihad is hardly falling apart. You know, the training complex, Man City's training complex is beautiful, by the way. So is Liverpool's. I'm guessing Arsenal's is going to be pretty state of the art as well. The problem we've got for me, Benji, is I think all of that stuff is great if we're convincing players that don't have the offers from the bigger clubs. So I've always said, I think if we're the only club that going for Semenyo, I've got no doubt Semenyo joins Tottenham Hotspur because we are massive compared to Bournemouth. Massive, right? However, there are levels to this game. And it's why Real Madrid sign whoever Real Madrid want to sign. They are Real Madrid, right? Doesn't matter. They could lose 10 in a row and be bottom of La Liga. They're going to sign the world's best player. Like, it's just the way it is, right? And I want to be wrong. Benji, I do. I promise you, I want to be wrong. I just can't see that he chooses Spurs. Like Sam in the chat said, just tell him we're signing Wharton in the summer. Well, first of all,
right. Your hypothesis, Savva, yeah. Can I use that case in point, yeah?
Yeah, but hang on, let me just finish my last bit. But this whole thing about, we're signing Wharton in the summer, just using him for an example. Well, one, you can never guarantee that, right? Two, Adam Wharton's a very good player, but is he the guy that you're going to go up against? Liverpool will go, well, hang on, we've got Virgil van Dijk. We've got Alexander Isak. Do you know what I mean? We've got all of these top players all around the pitch. Man City again, do you want to come play with Rodri? Do you want to come play with Erling Haaland? I'm not really sure Adam Wharton cuts it as a come and play with Adam Wharton, you know. And I think in the summer, if Adam Wharton is available, I think a lot of big clubs go in for that bloke as well. English, deep line playmaker in the national team. Sorry, Philly. Go on, mate. Sorry, I waffled there along.
All right. I was going to say, I'm going to tell your hypothesis, Savva. Can I put that in case in point with Kudus and the Chelsea move? Because I don't think Chelsea went in for him, to be fair. I don't think Chelsea put a bid in for him, right? So therefore, Tottenham was the best thing that was left on the table for Kudus here. And he didn't want to be at West Ham. So basically, he jumped ship to go to Tottenham because that was the only club left in town here that were interested in buying him at the time. So that fits your case in point, Savva, that you were using earlier. That if Tottenham is the best of what's left there, the player will go to Tottenham Hotspur. But I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, all you have is the stadium. You've got nothing that's telling the player to say to the player, look, you can come and progress your career at Tottenham Hotspur and you can actually lead to some success. You're a stepping stone club, brother. We've always been a stepping stone club from the days of Teddy Sheringham. We've never moved forward from that, and that's the bit that's annoyed me the most with Enid. We haven't moved on. We're still the stepping stone club. When you look at Manchester City, they're the finished article. If you're going there to go and win something. If you're going to Chelsea, you're going there to go and win something. When you're going to Tottenham, you're not going there to do anything.
No.
But then what about the likes of Xavi, though, boys? Because it's one of the biggest prospects in European football.
Who was in for Xavi? But Benji, this is the point, and this is the point I was about to make to Emma. People have got to listen. We can get these players if no one else is bidding for them. I'm not saying we can't. My point is, it's when we go up against the big boys. That is what I don't think people are understanding. if we are going in for Semenyo and Arsenal and Liverpool and City are going, no, we don't need him right now, then Semenyo's going to go, yeah, I'm joining Tottenham Hotspur for all of the reasons Benji just mentioned. Stadium, size of the club, project, yada, yada, yada. But the moment Spurs are in a 4-way tie with Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, I'll be absolutely staggered if we're the team that he chose. Sorry.
Let's be real here, right? Kudus, okay, right wing. Chelsea have got Neto, who's just solid, you know, not elite, but top level pro. He's going to just, and who have they got coming up right behind him? Esteval, right? You know, they don't need Kudus. They never went in for Kudus. Xavi, I'm absolutely convinced Xavi chose us because Chelsea didn't go in for it. Chelsea went.
We know Chelsea didn't bid for him.
So Xavi did exactly what Savva was saying. What's the next one down on my list that I've got? I will just say, can you imagine if you're a footballer or if you're a footballer's dad, more likely, right? And you get a phone call from the agent, and the agent goes, yeah, so I've got Madrid saying they're interested. Flipping heck. Sav, we were talking about winning the lottery, right? You would be like, you would be sitting back and you'd be like, holy, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
my life has just changed. You know, it's because and you may think that about Tottenham, but as soon as that agent says, you know, Real Madrid, it's different gravy, isn't it? I do think.
Of course it is. You've got to remember they're ringing his agent, right? You've got to remember, Rain, that if Spurs, for example, by the way, you know, I always say this in this conversation about transfers, people don't start ringing agents on January the 1st. They're speaking to agents now. They've been speaking to agents for the last 4 months since the window shut. If people are ringing up, if Spurs, let's just chuck another club in there, not to be against Spurs. If Spurs and Aston Villa want Semenyo, I'll just chuck Villa and Newcastle, right? One of the first things they're going to ask the agent is, does the player have interest in joining us? What level is that interest? And more importantly, who else has expressed interest in the player? They're not dumb. They ask these questions. They're not naive. They've asked these questions. Oh, right. Okay. And then they go back to the board and go, look, we've spoken. Semenyo's got interest. So like when an ITK might put out Semenyo has interest in joining Tottenham, fans will go, oh my God, we're his number one. No. He's got interest in us. But he's got interest over here, interest over there. That's where I want Spurs guys to act like a proper club and go, right, we now know our odds have probably gone from we thought we could get him 100% to we've got a 10% chance. Right. Who's on the list? Who else are we speaking to? What agents are we speaking to? Is it Fofana? Is it Undai? Is it Lookman?
100%.
Right. That's what they'll be doing. So I like this dream scenario. I do. I love this dream scenario, guys, where we are everybody's number one. We are the best club because our stadiums. I just haven't ever seen us go up against one of these clubs and win.
So what we need to do is what Daniel Levy. I never saw Daniel Levy do, right? And Morgan Gibbs-White is a perfect case, a perfect example
100%.
in the summer, right? We need to go to Semenyo, yeah. And if he's already having chats with these other clubs, then it's over. But if he isn't, then what we need to do, what Spurs as a club needs to do, is go in and go hard, and put a timeline on it. Sav, you know all about this, right? When you're getting someone, put a timeline on it, give him a timeline, and actually keep to that timeline. If you want to join us, we want you. Frank, have a chat with him. If you can, get him to the training ground, and then lock down. No mobile signal. Put the Faraday cage over the top. No mobile signal. Don't let him out. Keep him in a room until he signs. But whatever. But the point is, you give him a deadline, and you say, look, we're going to move on. If we need you, we want you early. We're going to get this sorted. I can't believe that we're going to offer him £200,000 a week, because that's not Spurs either. And I'd love that. I'd absolutely love us to go in hard. And if he doesn't meet that deadline, that's it. Start acting like a big club and just move on. Just go, right, that hasn't happened. Now we're going to go to option 2, which is Lookman, and we're now going to go Lookman, and we're going to, if Lookman's up, we're actually going to go, and now we're going to go hard on Lookman. So we're not the people who are on the end of the string, right? Who are on the hook.
Yeah.
You try to put them on the hook. You try to take some form of control, and that's what Spurs have never really done. We've always strung it out. It's always been like this. Try to pretend like we're the ones who are in control, and we're not.
No, look, there's a lot to be said for that, Rain. There's a lot to be said. Look, I would like to, as I said, for me, I don't think, listen, I like Semenyo. I'd love Semenyo. He's not the be all and end all. If we're a proper football club, there are loads of wingers out there. There are loads of players across Europe where you go, right, who else are we looking at? And what I've noticed in our fan base is that happens. I don't know if you might agree or disagree with me. We get a player in our heads, don't we? We get one player in our heads that we're told is the guy, and everyone else now becomes shit, right? Eze is the perfect example of this. Eze, right? Anyone else you suggest? No, don't want him.
Oh, brother. Right. Bastoni.
Right. Bastoni. Exactly. We see one player, and we get so fixated with that guy's got to join. Like, I thought it was crazy in the summer. Savio, everyone, Savio, we've got to get Savio. Savio doesn't sign, suddenly he's shit. Like, this is what we do. Like, now people going, I wouldn't want Savio. I'll have a day off. Have a day off. We wouldn't want Savio in this 11. Like, I
want to have a passionate rant, Savva. I'm going to have one passionate rant here. This is going to be it. I don't care if the name of the player coming in. I don't give a damn what player comes in. I'm sorry, I don't. Do you know what I'm looking for in this window? And I said it last window, and you said it a whole lot of times here since the summer. I want to see Spurs have a plan. You know what positions are weak. You know you're weak in the left wing. You know you're weak in the centre midfield. You know you're weak at left back because 4 into 3 or 3 into 4 doesn't go. And Spurs cannot cover both the left and the right hand side, which I've been saying since the start of the season at the same time. So an injury to one of them, and Spence is having to cover that position. Another injury, you finish. So this is what I said before. You need 4 left back. You need 2 left backs, 2 right backs. At one stage, you need both, right? So you need a left back, right? Now, now going forward there, I don't believe in the forward line. I don't trust the forward line. Richie might be hitting shots now and scoring at the moment, but overall, he's not good enough. Chesney Hawk Solanke with his one good year, not good enough. We saw that against Prague, didn't we? Two gilt-edged opportunities 6 yards out, and the bloke can't. It's got, we saw that. Bro, I don't rate Mwani, I don't rate him, brother. Wow. I'm sorry. I call him bad names from my country. Blood, you know I'm passionate French, man. I love my country. I've seen this man perform for my country. I do not rate Mwani. This is why I didn't want Mwani. He's not... For me, Spurs needed to hold up forward to bring other players into the game. That's what I saw all summer, which is what I cried out for since the summer. You need to hold up forward. So the options are there, Buy the players for them positions. That's all I'm asking for. I want to see some directive because all I'm seeing right now is random pieces of a puzzle, which you've now taken, Savva, forced together. That is what I see when the window comes in. It's hitting hope signings and potentials. They're not all going to make it. The chances of them making out Tottenham Hotspurs and hitting their potential is very, very slim. So every time you buy and hit in hope, you don't know how it's going to make it. But if you bought someone who's tried and tested and has actually done it at a higher level, the chances are more in your favour. This is why I rated Sunderland when they bought Tayibi in the summer. He had Champions League experience, at least had done it at the top level before he even went to Sunderland. And that's Sunderland buying a left winger. How have they got a better left winger than Tottenham Hotspurs? What are we doing here? Yeah, you're right. It's got to be... It's got to be a plan. Dan, by the way, if you want to come on, feel free to come on. Actually, for that to happen, I'd have to send him the link. I can't just say, on sec. There has to be a plan. I think you're absolutely right, Philly. I've asked this for ages. Let's build a squad with a plan in mind. Not, oh, we got that player. Well, did we need that player? Did we want that player? Where does he fit in? Get 2 right backs. Have 2 left backs.
Have 2 left-footed centre-halves, 2 right-footed centre-halves. Have a playmaker. Have a number 8 that can play, that's a ball player. Have a couple of DMs. Have a left winger that is an actual winger. Have a right winger that can compete with Kudus. Because right now, you've got to realise Kudus is the only right winger at our club. What happens is if Kudus doesn't play, we start going, oh, well, we'll play Johnson out there, who's not really a right winger. Or we'll play Odegaard out there, who's a left winger, but we'll put him like, you're right, Philly. There's no plan. And that's what these new, and the reason I'm not angry about it right now is because the new owners, the same owners, you know, whichever way we want to look at it, this, they've got the excuse now. Even if it was them and it wasn't Levy,
yeah,
right, they can paint over that. Right? Even if it was them that were doing what they've been doing for the last 25 years, they can use Levy as an excuse now and change their behaviour and almost throw Levy under a bus. Go, look, Levy's
100%.
gone. Look how we're going to act now. But they've got to show it. And it can't be, oh, but January's difficult. Sure, January's difficult, but clubs do things. You go out, you have a plan. They should be working 24 hours a day for players. Right now, players, who's available? Hey, is your player available? He's not playing a lot at the moment. What about a 6-month loan? He wants to get in the World Cup squad. What, you know, that's what I want to see from Spurs. Not that we get to the 25th of January, sign someone that we all then start pretending is who we wanted, and we start pretending they're better than they are because we didn't actually have a plan. No more children, right? If you are going to bring in children, like I like Malik Fofana, but he's nearly 21 and he's played 4 seasons of pro football. Right? So he's got over 170 games in his career. No more children, though, that have played 15 games and we're all going, but this one is special. Oh, my. No. Just no.
100% Savva. 100% Savva. As long as they've got pedigree and have played a decent amount of games, they know their position. I don't mind if they're young, if they've had that experience. It's the experience they lack. And when they come to Tottenham Hotspurs, they're not good enough because they've not had that. No, I'm tired of seeing it. And every young player that comes through, we always hear the excuse, they're young. No, come on, man, please. If you're old, if you're good enough, you're old enough, man. We're not doing that young game here.
And it's not just about quality on the ball, right? It's not, you know, being a 22, 23, 24-year-old, you know, it's not just about I've learned lessons about how to play football. It's also that they've had some life lessons, yeah? Let's face it, right? Yeah. These young kids, yeah? And for me, you know, 18, 19-year-old is a kid, right? They are, you know...
When you're your age, it is, yeah, you old kid.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But they're a year, you know, granddad, they're a year out of school. You know, you have to remember this, right? Yeah. They are still kids. 3 years earlier, right? And, you know, they've got acne all over them. They've not had the life experience to understand what it's like to deal with a cauldron, right? To his credit, Bergvall looks like he's got a head on his shoulders. To a degree, so does Archie Gray. But you don't have that kind of certainty with an 18 or 19-year-old player. There's so many 18 and 19-year-olds who have been absolutely amazing talents, but they haven't had it up here. And so they've never made it.
Completely agree.
So getting a 22, 23, 24-year-old, you get more certainty that they've had some kind of event in their life, some kind of strife. Eze is a really good example, right? Eze has fought his way up, up into a top 4, top 5 club with setbacks. Semenyo is also the same, right? He's fought his way up. Yeah. He's fought his way up, and that's what you get with a that type of age as well. You're getting that. Xavi is another good example. He basically got dropped by PSG, and he fought his way back, you know, up to Leipzig, you know, through Eindhoven, up to Leipzig, and now up to us. So he's had that. You know, my career.
Barcelona, don't forget, he's had Barcelona, PSG, gone down to try and work his way back. But do you know what, Rain? That is such a good point, because when people just talk about like they're doing at the moment with that Diamond, of Leipzig. Now, I've seen the highlights of Diamond the last couple of weeks. Yeah, he looks a player. Yeah, he looks a player. I'm not going to sit here and go, nah. But again, he's a child, right? Who's in good form, right? We don't know. Is he ready? Like, is he ready to come in to a new country, a new club at the age of 19, and we go? Now, that's not necessarily just about his footballing ability. This is about life, and this is where so many people don't like this whole. If you're good enough, yeah. If you're good enough, you're old enough. Sure, but it's a big difference when you're going to go and whack 70, 80 million pounds on a 19-year-old and go on, get into the first team. And I don't think we understand that. And honestly, as I said the other day, James Maddison, when he was on Sky Monday Night Football the other day, if anyone wants to get an insight into a footballer, go and listen to what James Maddison said about when he was coming through at Coventry. And then he had to go out on loan to Aberdeen. And he said, I'm in the change room and now I'm around men. Now, now I'm a scrawny kid. I'm around men. This is different. This is now very, very different. And he said, I didn't grow physically as quick as the other kids. And it took time and I had to mature. And he talks about fans not understanding players have things going on in their lives as well. And as football fans, I think we're really harsh on everyone. Like, look at the shit Xavi Simons has got in his first 10, 12 games in the Premier League. Everyone questioning him. And it's like, can we just realize that these are human beings as well? Like, yeah.
I mean, I used to love it.
I agree with you to a point, yeah. I agree with you on Xavi Simons, yeah. He had to move to a new country, have a new relocate his home, come to a brand new league, everything else. I agree with you. He took time to settle over here. But what I'm saying to you is, don't you want a young 19-year-old player with the hunger to come into the club, yeah, and actually want to challenge himself to go into the first team? Wouldn't that be the ideal 19-year-old that has that kind of passion?
Sure, but Philly, this again comes down to what do we want to be as a football club? Because how many 19, 18, 20-year-olds at this football club already that we're saying this about? Like, Archie Gray is now everyone's favourite player because he's put together 2 mediocre performances in midfield, right? Bergvall, everyone loves him. It doesn't matter what he does, everyone just loves him, right? When we signed Yang, remember when we signed Yang? The videos going out, this boy is generational. This guy is going to seamlessly take our left wing position, right? Can't even get in the Portsmouth team. Mikey Moore, everyone saw him come on against Alkmaar, right? So they saw him come on against AZ Alkmaar, run it his fullback, and everyone was going, oh my God, this guy's like Messi. He's brilliant. Right? You've got Valise, who was signed as a kid. Everyone pretended he was going to be great, right? Now Lancashire scores a few goals for Oxford United. He's now should be getting in the first team. Right, Vuskovic goes out on loan to Hamburg. Now, don't worry, we can sell Romero. We just stick 18-year-old Vuskovic in. Philly, at what stage do we want to be a big club? At what stage do we want to say, yeah, we can keep buying 19-year-olds with hunger? What about buying someone who's hungry right now? What's wrong with buying someone who's 24, 25 and they're hungry and they're good to go? Like, what? I don't understand this need for children all the time.
And actually, Philly,
I agree with you. I don't want it to be a creche. Yeah, I don't want it to be I don't want it to be Spurs kindergarten. Yeah, I don't want it to be a kindergarten club. I'm just looking at the club itself. Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, there are players of a certain club level, that you can actually sign. Like you go to Real Sociedad and go and buy their best player. I just look at Tottenham Hotspurs, willing to go down to the depths of the Premier League to buy relegation level players right now. And really and truly, they should be having a higher market than they wish and attacking a higher market than they should be. They should be going to Atalanta and buying their best player, but all divine. I'm sorry, they should be. If Italian football's on its back here, exploit the market. Use it in your advantage. Take full stock of it. Have a bath in it. That's what I would do if Italian market is on its back. And then no Italian teams have money. I'd be all over it. But unfortunately, this club has been buying young players, and the young players. And here's another one, because I heard you the other day actually, and this one I agree with. Right. Buying the young players here justified Spurs' bad dealing in the transfer market. And each fan that makes excuses for the young players here for doing bare little here, having a moment in the game, right? And you're using that as an excuse here. Remember, yeah, that Daniel Levy signed each and every one of them. There's Daniel Levy that you wanted out of the club, by the way. You signed each and every one of them, right? And like I said, they used to justify the Spurs not buying the right players in the market that they should have done, which has always been my issue. I don't mind buying young players, yeah, but not at the behest of the first team. The first team must always come first, yeah, and challenging as the first team must always come first before young players. And the young players should supplement the team.
But do you not feel like the club has acknowledged this, though, boys? Do you not feel they've made steps to maybe go in a different direction? They have stated this previously. And just quickly, you were talking about that Madison video earlier, Sav. About 6 hours ago, a similar video came out with Xavi on Wayne Rooney's show. Massively insightful. You'd probably really enjoy that. Give it a watch. It's great. Yeah. But yes, it's really good. It basically goes over his past and all that. It's a very interesting watch. But yeah, I feel like the club have acknowledged this, and that's why me personally, I'm quite excited about the future, because they've said they want to win more games. They want to go in a different direction. So everything we're talking about. Well, yeah, of course you do. But obviously, this will be their first window where there's no Mr. Levy. And our board has come out and made some statements. And like I say, this is a really exciting time for us. I know the football's not been great this season. I understand that. We're a bit down in the dumps. Things are starting to click, which is nice to see. But in terms of transfers, I think we're going to start moving in a different direction. I mean, at least that's what it comes across as. That's what they're telling us. So we'll see.
Can I just ask Benji, before I bring Dan in? Sorry, Dan, just before I bring you in. Sorry, I know you won't. Benji, I just want to, just so I'm clear on what you mean by that. Do you mean by that they've acknowledged this because of going for the likes of Morgan Rogers and Eze and Gibbs White and those players and Savio, that we went for more recognised, mature players? Is that what you meant by that?
Yeah, I think that's what the plan is going forward. I think they recognise the fact that we've got a lot of shortcomings when it comes to transfers, and we've made some huge mistakes. And I'm hoping, by the sounds of things, they're going to rectify that. So everything we're asking for right now in terms of quality, and established players, it looks like we're going to maybe start going for. So again, fingers crossed. Let's see what happens in January. But I'm excited personally.
Dan?
No, yeah, basically going on what Phil said, I mean, the way I look on it is, who do you want doing your electrics? Do you want that fresh kid that's just come out of college or university or whatever and that, and he's got all the paperwork that says he can do it? Because these days, you need the paperwork to do any bloody job from university, don't you? Or do you want that established fella that's been doing it significantly longer? He might not necessarily have the paperwork, but he's definitely got the bloody experience and proved it with the thousands of jobs he's done. Or do you want the little youth that's just come out of college and says, there you go, there's the paperwork, and screws up your whole electric system because he's got no experience, and yeah, there you go, your housing insurance has now gone up by about 50% and you've lost your no claims and everything else. That's the way I look on that one of the market. Kids, no go. There's about 3 kids out there that I would say I'll be more than happy for Spurs to get, but they're above our level, basically. They're the sort of ones that you would expect Man City to go in and take, PSG to go in and take.
You mean we can't sign Yamal from Barcelona?
Exactly that, yeah. And even though I'd love to get him, what's his name? I can't pronounce his name. Juventus. Yes, I'd love to get him, but that's not going to happen either. So I'll agree with Ben as well. You look at the transfer window we just done. In one aspect, it was good for the type of player we went for, but we obviously didn't get enough of it, basically. And we actually went for more established players. Okay, the one we went and bought on potential is Simmons. Yep, 2 good seasons he's had, but we've bought him more on potential than we have proof of what he's done. We're buying him, basically. You've still got a good 8 years at least left on your game as such, and you're going to improve in that time. Paulinho, we got him for what he is. Mane, we got him for what he is, basically. Kudus, we got him for what he is. More established players than what we usually go for. So you've got to look at it that side. I'd say there's definitely some sort of progress in that aspect, or it looked like it. But it's like one thing I keep saying, until it comes to the end of the summer, nobody is going to really know whether this club means business or not. We know in January, anything can happen, but it's probably the hardest time to do it. Could this one be a good one to get a couple of loans because you've got the World Cup coming up and maybe they ain't got enough games at the moment? Maybe we can use that to an advantage. But for me, January isn't really going to speak much. It's the end of the summer window where we are going to say whether they mean business or not by players that we bring in and players that we also get rid of at the same time.
Yeah,
still
Then you have to make an example of the window.
we can still see by January whether they mean business or not. I know it's tougher, but you know, this is their job. They've had 4 or 5 months since the window shut to put this plan in place, and there are so many players out there in the world that need a loan. There are so many players out there that aren't being played. Like for example, I'm just using them for example, like a Savio at Man City, for example, isn't getting the game time. By the way, I don't know this. Is that a time to test the water and go, hey, Savio's agent, he's not playing. Does he want to join Tottenham? Maybe Man City let us have him for 6 months until the World Cup, until they decide what they, do you know what I mean? But I get it. The bigger macro again, the macro is in the summer, we need to see a massive summer. But in January, I still want to see 1 or 2 come through that door where we go, yeah, you not you come in and help the bench, you come into the 11. That's what we need to see now for me, Dan. Players that come straight in and we go, you're better than what we've got.
Exactly that. We've been
for me will be
we've been saying that. Yeah, we've been saying that for ages. But I believe something will happen in January, whether it's buying a player or going out and getting 2 respectable loans. I think something will happen because it has to happen. Because if it doesn't happen, you're going to see the whole place going to total turmoil again. Basically, it's going to go. It's going to go crazy again. So, then it comes down to the fact of where people are still debating: do we keep Thomas Frank? Is he staying? This and that. This is where the club have got to go out, and if they do buy someone and they're not sure of what they're going to do with Frank or whatever else, they've got to buy someone established and good for the club. Like I said, go out and get an Edison for 50, 60 million if you can get him for that or whatever. Right. He's in that first 11. He's in centre mid. Right. Frank ain't been good enough. Get Frank out. Get the new manager in. Doesn't matter how he plays football. Edison is still getting in that team, basically.
Yeah.
And I feel that's what they're going to do in January. Or we will see a couple of loans.
No one's going to take over Man City and go, oh, I don't want Rodri or Phil Foden or Haaland.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You just
making a proper club buy, basically, that it doesn't matter who your next manager is, whether he's even more pragmatic or more attacking or whatever, he gets in that team.
Whoever the manager is, Dan, we need another left back. We need a ball playing midfielder. We need another striker. We need a left winger. It doesn't matter who the manager is.
At least one.
At
least one left winger.
At least, well, this is look. This is the interesting thing. When you look at Spurs on the left wing, you look right. So right now you've got 2 left wingers out on loan, right? In Yang and Moore. Okay, so what are they? Both 18, maybe. So you've got 2 kids out on loan. You've got Tell, who could play out there. He's in the first team squad. Odeber in the first team squad, right? But none of them are there. They're all down here. They're all maybes. All 4 of them could be worldies in 3 years, or all 4 of them could be absolutely shite playing in the Championship in 4 years. We don't know, right? So right now, if Spurs are a big club, go and get the left winger. That starts. Go and get the left winger that tells all the other left wingers, that's the guy you've got to, that's the guy you watch in training. That's the guy you got to learn from. And I'll say this over and over again. This was the biggest negligence for me of the transfer window.
Savva, can I take your case in point there? You know that left winger position, right? I think that would release Xavi Simons as a tenny for more, because right now, all he's got is the option of Kudus on the right-hand side. So really and truly, he can interchange with Kudus on the right-hand side there. So if you buy a left winger, we can actually open up the left-hand side there. That way he's got more options and more range of passing that he could use on the left-hand side. And that would open up Tottenham even more. But that's just me. That's why I said left winger. Well, as soon as Son said he was leaving in the summer, even before Son left here, especially the port and left winger, that was for me was a massive X, because right now I would take you if you had football boots playing on the left hand side, because I don't rate any of the left hand side players. I'm sorry, I just don't rate any.
What do you think we need more though? Because again, we know how Spurs work. We need this, we need that, we need this, we need that. We only usually get that. And that's just how Spurs usually work. And if we are to go out and get, say, one good established player in January, which I do think it will only be one if we buy, or maybe two if we don't, what do we actually need more? Do we need that centre mid that can boss the game and give us a bit of deep line play from there as well and everything, and get the passing going up the pitch, slow the game down, speed it up, do what he needs to do? Do we need that left, or do we need that striker? What one do we actually need more out of that? What one would you take out of that? Because we do know that with Spurs, it is usually one or the other.
We need the best.
Word of should.
We need the best one, the best player who is available right now. So, and I don't think we should compromise, right? I think we go and get the right player. We don't buy a player who we think might do a job, only to find out, we've got somebody on a 5-year contract. We've got another Basuma. Do you know what I mean?
So
and we end up with somebody on it. And let's be clear, when you sign a player, it's not just for Christmas. Yeah, it's for 5 years. Yeah.
Well, if you get him on loan, it is only for Christmas.
Well, there is that.
If you get him on loan, Rain,
and
if you do get a player on loan, he's got to come in and hit the ground running. It can't be. We can't be bringing in loans and saying, "Oh, you give them 3 months to settle," because that's pointless on the loan.
He's got to land on his feet.
Yeah, he's got to land on his feet.
So what you're saying, basically, if I'm understanding what you're saying properly, is say we go for a left and a middle, for example, yeah, and it's one or the other. The one we can get on the left is our third choice, but the one we can get in the centre is our first choice. Right, leave the left out, get the first choice man for the middle, basically. I can go with that. That's fair.
Yeah, because we need to start filling from the top, right? We need to start getting quality that goes on top of what we've currently got. We need to stop. Yeah. We need to stop treating our beer in the stadium as the template for how we manage our squad. We need to stop filling from the bottom. We need to stop getting players who are not as good as the players we've currently got. We also do. I agree with Philly. We need to stop replacing players who've left 2 or 3 years after they've left, because that's just absolutely bonkers. I just wanted to say,
how long has Dembele been gone from? Dembele is case in point. Dembele, was the playing midfielder that we needed in the middle, and we never, and Spurs never replaced him as a player, and that was criminal.
Philly, let Rain finish. Let Rain.
Yeah. I've just been waiting, right? Benji mentioned the Xavi video, which was really, really good. A video that I hope everybody's watched, which I thought was really excellent. Less high class was Lancashire at Oxford, and he called out. He knows Savva about the 0.01%. He knows all about it. He knows this. He knows that his chance of being a professional footballer is really, really low, and he has to work for it. And I thought it was an absolutely cracking video. The only other thing I just wanted to say, when Moore went to Rangers, I was like, I really don't think I don't want an 18-year-old thrown into that kind of experience. That's going to be a really tough. I hope that we are going to provide him with support, because he's a kid, right? And that's going to be a tough experience. And I'm actually encouraged. I'm more encouraged by the fact that Moore went up there, had a bad experience, and has forced his way back into their team. That tells me he's got something up here, right? And if he can build on that over the next 2 or 3 years, have other loans where he forces his way into the team, he makes himself the number one player in that team. That shows mentality. And if he can, that's what you need to align with skill. Why was Kane so good? Because he had some terrible loans, but he had the mentality to go, I'm still going to be a top footballer. This is
Kane made himself good. Kane was not how shall I put this? Kane was not a player who was gifted at birth, basically. Kane actually made himself what he is. David Beckham was nothing special until he made himself special through the amount of training he went. Them two, they made themselves get to that certain point where there's other players out there who are just born with it, and you can train all your life and you will just never be as good as them because they've just got what they were given, basically. But Kane is one exactly like a Ronaldo, who obviously they still work for it and that, but you can tell they're They're more gifted as such. And Kane was exactly the same. He's a hard-working fella, basically. He got stuck into it. He knew what he had to do, and he had exactly the right mentality for it. Whereas we've actually seen players who have been extremely gifted and got somewhere, but then haven't had the mentality to hold on to it as well, basically. We've seen quite a few players do that as well, basically, like look at Dele Alli, fell to pieces on the mental side of it. Look at Ronaldinho, probably the most skillful player ever in football, in my opinion. But he got to a certain point and the outside world drifted him off, basically. He didn't have the mentality to take it as far as he could have.
He completed football by about the age of 26, didn't he?
I agree. I agree. But
with his 9 wives or whatever he had.
Exactly. But he could have gone on so much longer, basically, and that. He didn't even need pace at one point, basically, where he was just that skillful. But there have been players like that. I mean, what's his name? Kaka as well. He lost interest in it basically when he moved and got the injuries. But a lot of players have got the gift basically, but the mentality isn't their strongest side as well. It does work both ways.
For sure. Do you know what, to bounce off what Rain said just quickly? Sorry, Sam. Rain, what you said, mate, was absolutely spot on. You do want the best quality player. But there's two things I wanted to say about January. One, I feel like the fan base need to be patient because we're not going to get everything we want in January. We're just not. But what I wanted to ask you boys is, what are you expecting in January? At least one first-team player guaranteed to be brought in. You think two? That's what you're hoping for.
I don't think it's got to be. Okay. Like if we're going to start seeing systemic change in this football club, we've got to start thinking like a bigger club. And they've.
Do you not think that's difficult in January, though, Sav?
Benji, they've had 5 months to get this shit sorted, right? Mm. They told us we're going to be different. They told us this what we'd. They've had 5 months. Do you know how many footballers there are across the world? Right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. These guys should be on the phone every single day to agents, to this, to that, the other, making this happen. Right? Look, I get it that it's more difficult, but when we're saying it's more difficult, it's only because it's 2 months shorter than the summer. Right? There are still loads of players in January who are not happy where they are. Right? And they won't suddenly just not be happy. That would have been building up from August, September, October, November, December. That's their job. That's what Paratici, Lang, the scouts, the intermediaries, these guys are paid. They are paid to make this shit happen, right? So for me, we've got to start seeing change. We've got to start seeing change. And 2 first-team players coming in, let's just for example, let's say we've got a ball-playing midfielder and a left winger. Completely changes Tottenham's trajectory for the second half of the season, right? That could be the difference between securing 5th and Champions League football or finishing 10th. Like that's how tight it is in this league. So I think we've got to start acting like a big club. And I'll be honest, like guys, I've struggled lately because I feel like I've never seen us as a fan base talk about kids as much as we do now. I don't know if that's just me. But I feel like nearly every show now is like everyone's going, oh, God, more. Oh, my God. Luca Williams-Barnett. Oh, my God. I saw on TalkSport yesterday, the guys on TalkSport, I think it was nothing against these guys, but I think it was Sonny Talk Spurs and Ben Bowman. They're on the TalkSport Spurs show, right? And the video was Archie Gray is the most important player at Spurs or something like that. And I'm sitting there going, well, sorry, what? Like, City don't talk like this. Liverpool don't talk like this. Arsenal do not talk. Arsenal are not making videos about Lewis Skelly being the most important player at their football club, right?
Yeah, but don't you think it's a low bar?
I want to act like those clubs. I want to act like those clubs. The fan base isn't acting like those clubs. The board, up until, well, we'll see, haven't acted like those clubs. And then we just have this, we feel like we've, sorry for the rant, but then we just feel like, I feel like we've got this fan base that feel like we've got a God-given right to just go to every football team and smash them. It just, none of what we're doing for me makes sense. Yeah. Mikey Moore, right? Fuck me. Every time the boy scores a goal, I think he's got 2 goals, but every time he scores a goal or goes on a dribble, videos go around the internet. Oh my God, this kid's a mate. Oh my God, you don't know ball. Trust me. People in this, trust me with this one. All right, cool. Then it's Vuskovic, right? Okay, so next season, Vuskovic and Moore are going to be in our first team. Oh, trust me, Luca Williams-Barnett's the best young player to come out of Spurs since Glenn Hoddle. All right, well, he can go in the first team as well. Archie Gray and Bergvall are going to be up. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Are we a big football club or are we a youth project where we think every young player is great?
We treat this... I mean, in this aspect, this is where we do have a good fan base, but it is so contradicting, so sentimental at times. And then we expect to go and buy these great players, complain when we don't, but then want these youths in here and then want this and that. It's like at Spurs. How do I put this without coming across to? It's like at Spurs, we almost play with a DEI system. Oh, no, we have to have a certain amount of kids in that team. There has to be kids in that first team, without a doubt. Play at DEI. No, he's a kid. Doesn't matter whether he's good enough for that. We need him in there, basically. And then the people will be saying, yeah, we got to play him. He's there. We're holding him back. We're doing this. We're doing that. Why aren't we buying Edison? Why aren't we out there buying, I don't know, why aren't we out there getting Savva? Why aren't we out there doing this? Why aren't we out there doing this? Why are we just buying kids? Oh, yeah, but the DEI system says we need those kids in there and they have to play. And then we go and buy more kids to then block them. Make your mind up what you want. Do you? I mean, we are a big club, not an elite club, but do we even act like a big club?
Grumpy old bastards?
No,
Hang on. No, I won't
have that. It's not about being a grumpy old bastard.
Go on.
Right? There's a difference between living in a dream world where every single young player is going to be amazing and makes it, and actually wanting to be a big football club. I think the grumpy old bastards are the ones that don't want that. Now, let's use the example. So this is a conversation that Lubo and I have every single day, right?
Yeah.
Every day I'm told this kid's great. This is the best kid. This kid's great. This kid's great. This kid's great. When did we become so far away from our first team that all we're looking at is loanees? We've always had kids on loan. I have never known an era like this where we are so fixated on every little thing that happens to them on loan, right? And if you're not fixated, I get told, oh, you don't like youth. No, I just acknowledge that hardly any of them make it, right? It doesn't matter, Benji, right? I could want Mikey Moore to be the greatest left winger ever. Me wanting that to happen and that happening are two very different things. So when listen, I sat on the Spurs 5, but when I was on it, and I had this argument with all of them, they were like, this player should have been kept. Donnelly shouldn't have gone on loan. Moore shouldn't have gone on loan. Vuskovic shouldn't have gone on loan. Right, okay. So we want to keep all these young academy players, right? We want to keep all these young players. We also want Gray and Bergvall to get minutes and Odeberg and Tell to get minutes. We want Kinski to get minutes as well, right? But then we want the academy players to get minutes, and we also want to go and buy the best players. Like Dan said, which one is it? Because you can't do all three. You can't want to buy kids, promote kids, and buy top players because the math doesn't math.
Yeah, so you don't buy them basically. That's we need to stop buying kids.
Not necessarily.
Although that is the old regime though, and that's done now.
Although to be fair,
is it done now? So. In the last window, we just bought Tell and Takai.
Yeah.
Like, why did we buy Tell?
I agree. What was the strategy?
Why have we bought Takai? Like, what's the plan for? Like, listen, I'm not knocking Takai. I don't know. I've never seen him. But everyone's telling me Vuskovic is the greatest young centre back in the world. Everyone's telling me Phillips is having a great season at Stoke. So why, if you've got two very good young centre backs, everyone's telling me that Byfield is the new Ledley King. All right. So if you've got all these young centre halves, why have we gone and bought another one? This is the thing, Benji. It doesn't make sense.
No, fair enough. Yeah, I get it.
Can I take this bit? Yeah. All right, I say this many times over. People don't understand it. Yeah, it's the cake and eat it mentality. Yeah, you want it both ways. You want Spurs to buy your kids, but then you want Spurs to buy the proper players. Right. I'm gonna say this once here. All right. I don't mind as a fan. Yeah, I don't mind Spurs buying young players but not at the behest of the first team. The first team must always come first. Then you supplement the squad with younger players coming through. You give them 5 or 10 minutes at the end of the game where the game is not dependent on them to come through and have to perform at the end of the game. But at Spurs, because we didn't buy for the right positions, right, we're having to basically throw them into the game and hope that they come into the game and hit the ground running. And that's not the kind of environment that I want young kids to develop in. And I've watched Barcelona go develop their kids and they don't do that to their kids. And I've watched Dortmund do it, and they don't do that to their kids. They give them an area, a zone where the pressure's not on them to have to perform. But at Spurs, because we didn't buy the right players there, they have to perform, and that's always been my issue.
But I'm not gonna, have an Archie Gray. I don't have an Archie. I don't want to have an argument with Lubo about Archie Gray, right? But we should not be buying an 18-year-old kid to come and play 6 or 8, who never knows, at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. We just shouldn't, unless they are Wayne Rooney, right? Unless they are Yamal. And do you know what? These players come around once every 10 years, and they're not coming to Spurs. We should not be spending now going and buying a Phillips for 1 or 2 million, and then seeing if he can make it, putting him out on loan. He has a great spell at Stoke. We get 10 million for him in the end. That's fine. That's absolutely fine by me, right? That is the way that it should work. Yeah, we spend a little bit of money, we spin them around, we put them out to loan, and then they fund the next. Are they going to be the 1%?
Exactly like Chelsea do it, basically.
Exactly, right. But they do it on hyper. But what we must do as a club is, perception is reality, right? And we just, I'm cursed with a good memory, and I remember the summer we've just had, where Morgan Gibbs White went nah, and Eze went. Mr. Arteta, Spurs are interested, but I'd much prefer to come and, we're more likely win trophies at you. And we gave them time. I'm going to come back to it. We gave them time to actually go and work out where there's something else. We need to behave like a big club. Nobody else will think we're a big club unless we behave and act like a big club. We're not going to get given it.
But Rang, we've got fans that ask to be a big club, that ask for big transfers, and in the same time, all we're doing is just praising, like heaping praise all over these kids. And I'm sorry, but listen,
they need to be re-educated.
Mikey Moore, for example, right? Mikey Moore, out on loan, brilliant. Leave him there.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean every time Mikey Moore scores a goal that we have to ask for him to come back and he should be in our first 11. Mikey Moore scored a goal the other day. It was a nice goal. I mean, I'm not going overboard, against Kilmarnock. We've all seen it, right? He scored a goal against Kilmarnock in the Scottish League. Fine. All right, well done. That's what you're paid to do. You're on loan. That's what your job is, right? The posts start going around. This boy will be our number 1 left winger next year. If Mikey Moore is our number 1 left winger next year, then we're not a serious football club. I'm sorry, we're not. If Mikey Moore is the number 1 left winger at Tottenham next season, it tells you we're either not in Europe, can't sign anyone, right? Or we have zero ambition. Because none of these other clubs are doing this unless they are superstars. None of them. I keep asking for people to give me examples, and I don't get the examples. 18-year-olds that go straight into the first team in the Premier League. How many of them right now are doing it? But we seem to want everyone to do it. We want Donnelly in our squad, right? We want Moore in our squad. We want Vuskovic in our squad. Yeah, we want Yang. He's got to come back and he should be in the squad, right? Oh, Lancashire scored a few goals at Oxford. He's good enough. No. Whoa, the levels for me are here and here. And the fans need to start talking about it as well, because fans, for me, we talk with such a small mindset. We really, really do. I'm not seeing, like Man City, people go, oh, well, Nico O'Reilly's playing for Man City. Yeah, watch Nico O'Reilly. First of all, he's nearly 21, right? He's not 18. Second of all, look at him. Look at him. He's ready. He's an England international. He's ready. I look at our kids and go, no. And then all our fans say, it frustrates hell out of me, is you don't know unless you give them the chance. Right. So we just give every kid a chance because we want to see. I don't know what we are as a club, guys. Sorry for the rant. I don't know what we are. I don't know what we want to be.
The problem is that we've gone and gifted ourselves of what, it's not just football, but this one you can look on in life as such. Anyone, anything gets a stereotypical name for a reason. It doesn't just appear out of nowhere that you get this stereotypical name or whatever else. You get it for a reason. Spurs have got a stereotypical name of being Spursy. Why? Is that just because nobody liked us and gave us the Spursy name? No, it's because Tottenham Hotspur worked hard as a football club and earned that stereotypical name of Spursy. They will never ever lose it until they start doing what basically all of us are saying, and that is acting like a big club, going out there and getting the job done. Stop relying on kids or relying on hidden hopes. Actually go out there and show you mean business. Because the problem is with everything, again, it's not just football, it's life. Mud sticks. People remember the dirty more than they remember the good. Mm-hmm. They only remember the good when it's only a couple of years ago. But the mud sticks. And to lose that Spursy stereotypical name we've got, just like anyone else gets a stereotypical name in life, whether it's on here or anything else, you earn that name. You don't just get given it. We need to lose that stereotypical Spursy name. We earned that name. We now have to lose it. And that ain't going to get done in 5 minutes. But over a matter of 3, 4, 5 years, making consistent buys, acting like a big club consistently, it does start pushing it aside a little bit when people start seeing, if they start seeing, that the club actually means business. Or is it just going to be a window like summer where we have gone for a bit more established players, this and that, and then it comes to the next summer and we just go and hit and hope all over it again? No, Spursy all the way, mate. They ain't changed. It's still Spursy. It's going to take about 3 to 4 years for players to notice, if we start doing that, oh, hang on a minute. Okay, it's still not working 100% on the pitch, but that Spursy tag is dropping a little bit. Look, they've just spent that money. They've gone and got that. Their scouting system's definitely working a lot better than what it was. Maybe they are looking at going somewhere. Until then, I'll repeat it once more. We have got this stereotypical name that is going to stay with us until we lose it.
But fellas, you don't think we've started doing this?
Don't you think this is the first window that you can actually get rid of that and say, basically blame it all on Levy and throw him under the bus here and say it was all Levy's idea, that you signed these players here? Because right now, Tottenham have this is why I'm looking at Tottenham, and I'm thinking you're shifting gear, you're just blaming Daniel Levy for a lot of the stuff here. I don't know if Daniel Levy is the head of the snake here or he's just basically the fall guy. And I'm looking at the situation and I'm thinking Spurs are using you as the fall guy, bro, by taking all of this year
Phil,
and taking the heat. So right now, if Tottenham are serious, they would basically go into that market, having studied the players that they need for the right positions, and actually go and do it. And then basically they can turn around and say that Daniel Levy was the reason, that a lot of clubs didn't want to negotiate with Tottenham Hotspur. They weren't interested in going to the negotiations.
That is their fallback
because Daniel Levy was in charge.
Until it comes to summer, and because January still ain't going to tell it, it might give us a hint, but until it comes to summer, that is when we can really see if the club means business. And I did say this as soon as Levy left. It's going to be in the next week, the proper transfer window in the summer, where we actually start seeing, was Levy the main instigator of the problem, or was he only messing about with the money he was given, did it wrong, whatever else than that? But at the end of the day, he wasn't the top dog. He might have been the one who run the show as such, but he was the right-hand man to the top man at the top. And then we're going to start seeing, does the club mean business? Are we going to start making steps forward to try and learn this hardcore Spursy name that we have earned with a passion over 25 years and are not going to drop it for at least 5 years until we seem to mean business? That's like a UFC fighter going out there. He gets his head kicked in 6 or 7 times, gets knocked out 5 times. Next thing you know, he drops 2 people and he's totally lost his reputation. Not a chance. He needs to knock out another 5 people before people start taking him serious. And that's what we've got to do, basically. Last I'm saying it again, anything and everyone earns a stereotypical name for a reason. It doesn't necessarily mean it's fair, but life ain't fair. And only Spurs can lose that make us lose that stereotypical Spursy name to an extent. It will always be there because the minute it goes wrong, like I said, mud sticks. People will always pick on the dirty side of it.
So
And
we've
got to do it.
So there's been rumours, helpfully stoked by our lovely legend from my era, Glenn Hoddle, that the BDV doesn't want to sign a new contract, which isn't the end of the world. He's got a contract until 29-30. Showing that acting like a big club will help with those things as well, because there is this whole stepping stone. Yeah, we are a stepping stone, but we can make ourselves less a stepping stone if we actually act like it. So going out and getting players, but not. I mean, sometimes it's not even about getting the right players. It's just about how you behave. Not leaving it till the end of the window. Dan, bless you. You said we'll see by the end of the summer. Do you know what, mate? I don't want to see by the end of the summer. I want to see by the start of our pre-season what where we are as a football club in terms of who we're getting in and how we're behaving in the transfer market. I don't want us to leave it to the end of the day. It's all little things like that breed belief into the fan base, into the players, into the club. And for too long, at our football club, like Dan said, Spursy. We're Spursy inside and out. And the only way we can get rid of it is by actually acting not Spurs.
And you see what you're saying with VDV? For me, there is a prime chance to push a little bit of your name aside. Right, if he's not going to sign a new contract, sell him. Or we've got enough time on him to say, right, we give you that one extra season to show you that we mean business. If he's got no intention of signing a new contract, I say sell him at the end of the season. Why? Because we could get 90 million, 80 million for him. Or do you take that risk again of holding on to him and all of a sudden he busts his leg and don't play football again and you get nothing? Now, if he's got no intention of staying here, which I do struggle to believe this in the aspect of he's on about 45k and is he going to ride that out for 4 years? I don't think so. Yeah. But then I don't think he's no Harry Kane mentality where he's sentimental or get in front of him and he doesn't want to upset fans. I think he's more the person that would sit there and say, right, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, PSG, right, Spurs, let me go. I'm off.
Yeah.
Personal opinion, that one. And I think on that one, he's one where we could hang on to him for a season and prove to him that we mean business. Or if we are that much of a big club in one aspect, right, you ain't going to sign us a new contract. Right, we can get 90 million for you there. Right, bang, out you go. Even though it's our best player, but out you go. And there you go. There's 90 million to spend on two established or one quality player as such. And that would show, I think, that we act like a big club.
Can I just say, right, it's so much information I've got in my head right now. Right, do you know what we're dealing with is a byproduct of Daniel Levy. I mean, for me, my personal opinion, Daniel Levy has been the biggest problem at Tottenham Hotspurs for years and years and years and years, and we are dealing with the fallout from it. And it was never going to be, roses and sunshine, less than a few months after he's left. But I'll say this, I think maybe you could look at this from a different perspective with the way Spurs are doing things. Right now, we've got, I believe, about 4 good quality youth players that really could amount to something. I'm going to say it. Gray, Bergvall, Vuskovic, and possibly Odegaard, maybe. I don't know. These are decent level youth players that could really amount to something big. We're all saying how we want Spurs to do things. Do we not feel we've already started to act like that? I mean, look. We've okay, fair enough. Well, let me just throw my point out and then hit me with it.
Yeah, sorry, I was just answering the question.
No. That's right. So we're saying, we need players of experience and so on and so forth. This transfer window just gone. We went and got Paulinho, huge experience, fantastic player. We went and got an established, but regardless, that'll probably turn into a full-time purchase. It looks like it. Well, I don't know, maybe not, but regardless, he's playing at Tottenham Hotspur for a season, so we take it. So we went and got Paulinho. We went and got an established Kudus, another very good player who's performed well. An established player like Mawani, we went and got him too. So what I'm trying to say is, I understand what everyone's point is about the youth, and you're absolutely right. I'm not disagreeing in any way, shape, form. But if you change your perspective on it, look, we've got those solid little youth players now. and we are starting to bring in the more experienced players. And you know, come January, we're probably going to add to that. So I'm just saying, you know, I don't think I'm confident that things are starting to change, because in my eyes, I've already seen it, you know. And I do think the biggest.
Can I tell you why I don't think it has, though, Benji?
Go on.
Because I'm watching Spurs teams line up with Archie Gray starting as our main midfielder,
which is a huge problem, and you can't. That's
Right.
the one thing
So-
Spurs have always done wrong. They've put too much pressure on a young kid to come in and perform to a level that he shouldn't have to.
Yeah, but when we're talking about haven't we seen change? If Tottenham was serious, starting with this, this is where we're going to disagree, Benji. I always said I thought the window was okay. I thought it was lazy. I thought it was a really lazy transfer window. You know, you can bring in Paulinho and Mawani on loan, but surely the reason you bring them on loan is you kick the can down the road a little bit and you've got more money to spend on players there and then. And we didn't. We actually, if you look at it, Spurs went out and bought 2 senior footballers this window. Because until Paulinho or Mawani or both or one of, until they're permanent, they're loans. So what we actually did this summer was buy 2 kids and 2 senior pros. We bought Takai and Tel, shouldn't be at the club, either of them. And we bought Kudus and Simmons, who both should be at the football club. If we were serious, we would have looked at those midfield options and gone, yeah, we need some players, right? We would have looked at the left wing and gone, well, Son's gone. Well, Son is going, Son has gone, we're replacing him. We would have looked at the centre forward position and we wouldn't have left it. Take care, Dad. Cheers, mate.
Got to shoot. Yeah, see you later on. Take care.
Cheers, mate.
Man.
We wouldn't have waited until the last few hours of the window to go and bring in Kola Mawani, who wasn't fit, on loan. Because what happens? You bring a player in who wasn't part of the plan, who wasn't fit, and we're now only starting to see a fit Mawani in December. So when we're talking about this great transfer window we've had, was it? When you actually break it down,
can I add to this one? Savva, you know me already, yeah.
Hang on, Philly. You keep
go on, you're up, bro.
Right, we are for this great transfer window. We are short in midfield. We are short at left back. We have 1 left-sided centre half. We have no proper top left winger, and we don't know who our number 1 striker is. We have no backup right winger to Kudus. We have no ball-playing midfielder, right? So when we're talking about this great window, Benji, and things have started to change, I haven't seen it yet. I've seen that we had a decent window, but a negligent transfer window. So for me, no, I haven't seen it. I'm watching a team where Gray is our centre mid, Odegaard is our left winger, right? Or Bergvall or Sarr are our centre mids. I'm seeing a club where Jed Spence is our left back because we didn't buy another left back. No, right back is playing left back. So no, I'm afraid I don't think it's changed yet. I'm not saying it won't, Benji, but I need to see it. I need to see it.
No, listen. Yeah, I get it. I understand.
In 19 days, when that window opens,
yeah,
that's when I want to see it. Like this. This is the great point. I'll go and get an Nathan Ake. If Spurs are serious, go and get an Nathan Ake. He solves 2 problems for Spurs in one go. He solves the left back and left centre half. That is a serial winner international footballer who's not getting lots of game time at City. That's where I'm going. I'm asking the question. I'm asking the question to Ake's agent. Now, they might have done that. That's when I'll know we're serious, Benji. Not Mawani and Paulinho on loan. Go and get these players in. Let's see.
No, I get it. For me, a good transfer window.
Let me out the door, please. For this one, Benji, right? I'm going to say this, yeah. When I met Savva, in the summer, and I don't want to say this, yeah. I stayed quiet all summer. Savva was testament to this. I let the window pass, Benji, yeah. A lot of fans here will talk about the window, and I let it pass because I said, yeah, my priority for Spurs was to blind positions not the player's name, but positions in the team. And Savva put the positions down there, and not one of them the positions were rectified for me. And this is why the window was a 5. I said it at the time, the window was a 5 because I looked at the team and I said, this is short. I said, Thomas Frank is doing no more than a miracle here. You're having to fit players in there like Archie Gray just to supplement the team. But really and truly, mate, you could basically throw a dart at a board, yeah, and basically that's the player that's going to play today. That's what I'm looking at when I look at the Tottenham team. I see every game, yeah, and I'm not gonna lose my mind to every single game because I'm looking at the manager and thinking you're getting the best out of what you got. And we are playing a lot of games. We're playing a lot of games this season, so I'm not even going to look at Thomas Frank as a problem. That's why I'm calm, and I'm not doing Frank in or Frank out. I'm not doing okie dokie. I'm too old to do that. I won't get up again, so I ain't doing okie dokie games here. So I'm looking at the squad here, and I'm thinking to myself here that we don't have a decent squad to be mounting a serious challenge. 6 was the highest I put Spurs at. Right, but I'm looking at the summer and I'm thinking Spurs wasted the summer. We wasted bare weeks going after Morgan Gibbs-White. We wasted bare weeks going after Eze. There was no contingency planning whatsoever to Spurs never got those players whatsoever. So you basically wasted those 2 weeks of the window. Then we went on to pre-season tour in South Korea. Right, there was no action, there was no signings whatsoever, and Lang was there with them on pre-season tour. Then he came back from pre-season tour and went on a personal vacation 2 weeks before the end of the window. And at the end of the window, yeah, because he didn't do his job, yeah, he scrambled around the market to see what was left out there, and he found Simmons here, and he found Mawani on loan. That's what I saw at the end of the window, and I said this man should have been sacked straight away because you wasted the window.
He's got a point. You think about it, right? We bought Kudus and then didn't buy anyone for a month in a transfer window in the summer. Like we bought Kudus and then the next signing we made was a loan 4 weeks later. Look at the pace in which Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, City were buying footballers, right? These teams don't fuck about. Arsenal went and got every position they needed, didn't they? They got a centre back, they got a left back, they got 2 centre mids, they got 2 wingers, they got a striker, an attacking midfielder, they got a number 2 goalkeeper. They did not fuck about. Spurs, we signed. This is the difference for me, Benji, between a plan and scattergun. Right? We all go, oh, we got in 4 players. What was the plan? Because Mawani wasn't part of that plan, was he? Mawani, up until the day before, was meant to be joining Juventus. Right? So Mawani wasn't part of the plan. Xavi Simons wasn't part of the plan, and that's fine. You can buy players who weren't originally part of the plan. But what were we doing for the rest of the summer? What were we doing while we were fucking about with the Morgan Gibbs-White situation? Where was the Morgan Gibbs-White replacement? Like, this is why I think our fans, we get the wool pulled over our eyes so easily. Now, let me take it to another point, right? When we're all talking about transfer windows, our transfer window is not about players going out as well as coming in.
Yep.
Who left this football club? We didn't get rid of Basuma, right? Gray, Bergvall, and Sarr. What, one of them couldn't have gone on loan and you bring in a top midfielder, right? We didn't buy a left winger, right? All the players that went on loan, like we didn't sell anyone. For me, I think it was an okay window, but big clubs don't fuck about.
I completely understand. I completely understand all of your points, though, Sav. I do. I just feel like, look, for me, a good transfer window is bringing in 2 players that jump straight into your first team. I feel like we accomplished that. I feel like we got 3 players that we needed. You know, we needed a new Cam because of Maddison. We needed a new right winger because, let's be honest, Johnson ain't it. And we desperately needed a number 6. Look, I can't help but feel, because of our situation, and we need so many players brought in, you can't have everything at once. And I feel like that's a bit of a football manager sort of mentality to have, because you can't fix everything. You know, number 1, we're not that rich. And number 2, it's dangerous to bring in that amount of players anyway. But I can't help but feel like what we did do during the summer, admittedly, Sav, I'm with you, lads. Seriously, I can see there was clearly no fucking plan there at all. I get that. But I do feel like we brought in good quality, quality that has made a difference to the team.
Benji, didn't we just replace? But didn't we just replace?
We did. I know we're going to, yeah.
like if you actually look at this, right, when are we actually going to add quality, not just replace? So Kudus, you could say, was Son, but on the opposite wing, right? Xavi Simons, would we have signed Xavi Simons if James Maddison hadn't got an injury? Now, I would have loved to have known that question, right? The answer to that question, because if James Maddison was fit throughout the summer and didn't get that injury, still go and get Simons. Now I rate it. Right. Oh, you've got someone else in that's gonna play that position, right? Morning, Corey. You got someone else who's gonna play that position. But what we did was go, oh, Maddison's out for the season, right? We better buy a playmaker. Oh, Son's left. Well, Kudus is coming as a winger, right? Oh, Solanke got injured. All right, we'll bring in Mawani. The only one that came in that we didn't already have, for me, the only one that came in that we didn't have was Paulinho as a 6. So if this window, Benji, if the next 2 windows, Spurs go and add to that quality, go and get rid of some of these young players who aren't good enough, or the Johnsons, or the Solankes, or the Richies. If you then bring in quality in above them, I'm here for it, and I will agree with you that we are acting in the right way. But for me, we panicked in the window because James Maddison got injured. I don't believe anyone was looking at a playmaker before that happened. We panicked because Dominic Solanke picked up an injury in the last week of the window, so we went and got Mawani on loan. Kudus, for me, is the standout. That was the standout signing where we actually wanted the right winger, went and got it.
No, right? Fair point. I'll stand back then. Fair point.
No, you don't stand back. It's your opinion, but this is just for me. I don't want to see a half-hearted window. I don't want to pretend it was good because, we got 4 players that get in the first team. Oh, yeah, well, we lost Son, Maddison, Kulu, and Solanke. So we've replaced them. Like, it's...
No, I get it. I do.
It's not black or white, right? It's not like good, bad. There was definitely some... and I get where you're coming from, Benji, right? Everything that Savva said, I agree with everything Savva said, obviously. Right? But there was some good things, some positive things. Hell was not. Takai was not. Kudus, the Kudus profile absolutely was a positive. Absolutely, yeah. Trend proven. Couple of years over 24. Definitely, he's got it up here. Definitely.
And what makes him stand out from it all, he's also developed into a man. He's not a footballer in a kid's body, Like I said earlier on in my comment, like that, we've got so many players here now that under the age of 20 that I'm worried about this club. Like everyone was getting gassed that we signed Bergvall. Bergvall chose us over Barcelona. Well, let's not get it constrayed here. The only reason why Barcelona didn't go fully in for him is because they couldn't afford him. So that's the only reason why he really chose us.
He just wouldn't have played.
So the fact that we even went for Morgan Gibbs White again, right profile, right type, type of player. Yeah. The fact that we went for Eze, right type of player. So I do make you right. There was definitely a mindset shift.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. But the problem is we don't execute. Yeah. So and you can have the mindset. But if you don't execute, if you don't actually do it, if you don't actually deliver, then nothing changes.
No, I agree.
I just think when you look at Tottenham Hotspur, right, the fact that no one can name a strong midfield, that straight away, that's a worry for me. Champions League football club, and we're all going to debate whether or not Sarr, Bergvall, or Gray should be starting. That's where we're at as a football club. If we're a proper football club, we've got 2 or 3 top-class centre mids in front of them, and those boys play when everyone's injured, or they get 10 minutes here or there. We're starting them. And then look what happens with Gray, right? Because I don't wax lyrical about him, and because I want better, I get told, Savva, you hate Gray. You've got an agenda. I don't have an agenda. My agenda is I want to see top midfielders at Tottenham Hotspur. That's my agenda. I don't care about... Archie Gray is not my concern, right? My concern is how have we got to this stage where our midfield has to have a kid in it who clearly isn't ready. And the problem is we then start overrating these kids.
Yeah.
So if they have a decent game, oh my God, you see how good were we today with him in midfield? Were we? Like, were we? I didn't see that. Like, that wasn't what I was. So look, I agree with you, Benji. If they follow up on what they've done in the summer with a plan, if They go and get that left-sided winger, and I'm hearing that Thomas Frank, that is what he wants. But it's also got to be the going outs. Be ruthless. If we're a proper club, in this next window, we are going, right, Solanke, Richarlison, we've tried that. No, that's it. Right. They're both going. Brennan Johnson, thank you. Thank you for Johnson again, ole. See, we don't need you. Like, we want better. If we start doing that, Ben Davis, thank you for your 10, 11 years service. If we start seeing that, Benji, I will be all on board. But right now, there's too many games I'm watching for Tottenham. We ended the game the other night with Papa Sarr, Bergvall, Odegaard, Tell, all on this football pitch. Ben Davis, and I'm looking at that going, none of these people should be in a first 11 at Tottenham. None of them. So until we sort that out, I will quietly, I mean, not angrily. I will sit back and go, all right, show me. Enoch, show me. Show us that these words Vinay says, and I like Vinay, comes across like a really good guy, but I need to know that isn't just your charming uncle. I need to know that's your guy that gets it done. I need to know when he's talking about we're not scared to move players on, show me. Because who's been moved on? Who was moved on in the summer that should have been moved on?
No one.
That we can think
Right.
of.
Well,
Son
Sonny
goes.
needed to go.
Yeah, but
Right. Son
I think
goes.
that was his choice. Not
Yeah, no, of course. But Son goes because that's the right time for someone like that to go. Most clubs would go, right, we've lost him. Who's coming in? Right?
Yeah.
Man
They should
City
have had a
lose Kevin-
contingency in for him, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
They should have had the contingency in place for Son before he had even walked out the door.
Yeah.
And that's where
Corey.
I'm sitting there like, what are we doing with this?
Man City lose Kevin De Bruyne, right? They knew they were going to lose Kevin De Bruyne. Right? They knew he was signing for Napoli. So Man City went out and bought Rayan Cherki. Now, I'm not saying Rayan Cherki is Kevin De Bruyne, but he's the same sort of mold. He's that skillful, not really one position. He's that guy that plays in between the lines and the
Swiss
channel.
Army knife of all
Right.
places.
So they go and get him, and you go, right, all right, you've got that sorted. Right. They lost one of the centre mids they lost in the summer. They've gone and bought in Tajani Reinders.
Oh,
Right?
he's quality. I love Reinders.
So, but this is what a proper club does. They lost a goalkeeper. Their backup plan was Donnarumma. Like, this is what proper football clubs
and then they
do.
brought back their youth goalkeeper that they sold the year before. So they kept that door revolving so they can keep the English quota team up to be in Europe. So
Right.
Yeah, but
So this
yeah,
is,
but
this
Spurs
is what
are
I want
slow.
to see.
Spurs are slow on that aspect.
no, Spurs aren't slow. They're glacier. They are
Wait a minute,
glacier.
Corey. Hold on, wait a minute. Big up to my brother that was on the other day, yeah, Brian Daigle, because he always texts me this one. Spurs never replaced Dembele. You needed that archetype midfielder, yeah, to drive the midfield forward. We never replaced that adequately. And because you never replaced it, yeah, that's a pivotal part of the team. I told people this the other day when I was on the TV. I said to them, yeah, that the midfield diamond in the Spurs team is wrong. And anyone who watches Italian football knows you need a defensive midfielder, you need that box-to-box midfielder to force the play forward, and you need the attacking midfielder, yeah, to be able to create, right? But we don't have that in the Spurs midfield because we don't have a proper driver. We can't give it to Bergvall because Bergvall just loses the ball. You can't give it to Sarr because Sarr's a headless chicken. He's a good athlete, but he's not that type of architectural midfielder. And without that pivotal midfielder, you're light. And that's a massive issue. This is why I said you need to have a dominant 8. I was looking at someone like Lewis Ferguson, someone like Bologna, yeah, who can control the ball and control the flow of midfield. But really and truly, Spurs needed to buy that 6 years ago. And yet in 6 years, you haven't replaced it one bit.
Mate,
I can give
absolutely.
you time. I can give the club time to...
Not just Dembele. Go back to Kyle Walker and Danny Rose.
Because they bought a left, but they bought Aurier. Whether we like it or not, Spurs still bought Aurier. So they bought an adequate replacement, but Spurs never bought the profile of player to replace Dembele.
Hang on,
and that was a shock.
Yeah, but they were hoping Ndombele would be that guy, right? And he wasn't. But even then, we bought Ndombele 6 years ago, right? We bought Ndombele the summer after the Champions League final, didn't we? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You think since then we've not bought a ball-playing midfielder? By the way, sorry, Adekunle. Sorry, dude. I mean, what is this? Can you imagine what Pochettino or De Zerbi will do with Gray, Bergvall, Bennett, Luca Williams, Barnett, Vuskovic, and Odegaard? I mean, first of all, what has anyone seen from Gray, Bergvall, or Odegaard that? You think that Pochettino would have wanted those in it 3 in his 11? This is where such hate towards the manager for no reason at all. Like, for no reason at all. Fairly right players, and then lists all. Not one of them should be in our first 11. Not one of those players he's mentioned should be in our first 11.
That list that he brings up
That
there,
is a clanger.
Odegaard has a 25 minutes against Man United when they were down to 10 men and couldn't make a substitute. For the 60 minutes up the lead into that, he did nothing in the match. So it's like waxing lyrical about a guy that we bought from a relegated team.
Mate, but Philly is right.
Poch got Dembele. Poch went out and got Wanyama. Poch had young players, right? And that's what everybody remembers. Everybody remembers everybody remembers the exceptions. Everybody remembers the outliers. But the fact is, Poch bolstered it. Yeah, bolstered that 14 to 17 team with quality players in the middle. We went and got Alderweireld. We went and got Dembele. We went and got Wanyama. You know, we saw Harry Kane, charge through as a 24, 25-year-old. It wasn't all kids under Poch. He reinforced the kids with the good players that you actually need in the club.
Well, these young players back then had those players to learn from.
Notice what Pochettino had in the spine of the team. He didn't have any kids. In the spine of the team, he had Hugo Lloris, right? He had Vertonghen and Alderweireld as senior pros. He had Dembele and Wanyama as senior pros. And then Christian Eriksen, who wasn't a kid. I mean, Christian Eriksen, I think we bought him at like 21, 22. By the time Poch was there, he was 23, 20. Like, he wasn't a kid. But you're right. Everyone remembers the outlier of Ali and Kane. Everyone remembers that outlier. They don't actually remember all the senior pros that he brought in to play alongside them. Look, but again, notice that, like that guy, Kunle, we're talking again about, imagine what a manager would do with these kids. Fuck off. No offense, but fuck off talking about kids. What about, imagine what a manager would do with getting proper signings? It's just everything is children-centric at this football club. I've never known a fan base like it.
We haven't really done or brought someone through the youth team since Harry Kane, and that's going back, 11 years now? Come on.
Do you know what?
Like, Kane started making his break after he had that loan at Norwich, got given his chance, and he ran with it, didn't he? But before that, Kane was on loan, not proving himself. And then got given.
But that's the worst thing that ever happened to the club, Corey. I'll tell you why that's the worst thing that ever happened to the club. And I think Rain knows where I'm going to go with this, why he smiled. The worst thing that ever happened to this club was Harry Kane. And what I mean by that is, because Harry Kane was the exception to the rule, now every single youth player, you get, but Harry Kane wasn't great on loan. But Harry Kane, like when you go Dane Scarlett, Dane Scarlett should play. Well, he's done nothing on loan. Yeah, but Kane didn't. I mean, every left-sided player we buy that's young, or give him a chance, they could be like Bale. I heard that for 5 years with Semenyo.
Don't.
5 years Ryan Sessegnon was at this football club. 5 years. It doesn't matter how wrong all of our fans are every year with young players. The next group of young players, they're going to do the exact same thing again. And it's like their brain has forgotten how wrong they were with all the kids before. Every kid, every fan thinks they know every kid's ceiling. And I hate this fucking saying, right? Ceiling. Trust. Like yesterday, someone in there was going, trust me on more. Trust me. Sorry, who are you? What am I trusting you on? If he's that good, if he is that good, he's not on loan at Rangers. If he's that good, Spurs wouldn't have bought Tell and Odegaard. If he was that good, we would have gone, we don't need Odegaard or Tell. You got Mikey Moore. So he
would have gone on loan for a better league and a better opposition than Scotland. Let's put it that way.
Well, I
know he's a young kid, but you've got Germany and Belgium that are in the top 20 in the FIFA World Rankings. Both Belgium and Germany are in the top 10. Even
Corey,
the MLS is
I want to take this one. Sorry, man. I want to take this one. Yeah, it's something you said there. Yeah, and this is why this is like new managers coming to Tottenham Hotspurs. Every time a manager comes in, yeah, right. Every fan expects. Well, most fans expect them to upskill players. You cannot upskill turd. I've said this before. Big up American Dad is better than Family Guy. I'll always say this one. You cannot polish turd, and no manager can make a player better than he is. So people have to understand. Yeah, the players are not what they expect them. Right, a lot of the players are not as good as the fans expect them to be, right? And no manager can get that out of them. So every time a new manager comes in, he's got to look at the squad, see what he's working with, and then adapt towards that squad. But at Tottenham Hotspurs, he cannot get anything more out of the players that he's got, and that's the sad thing about it, because they're not as good as the fans have put them on the pedestals without earning it. Like Archie Gray, you've had a moment in a game, that all of a sudden you've had the best half of football you've ever had. And that's the sadness. I told people before, that's a low bar. You had one moment, one pass in the game, and all of a sudden you've had a brilliant half of football.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
What I said about Odegaard. It's what I said about Odegaard. You know, Man City couldn't substitute anyone because they were injured and used all their subs. He turns it on for 25 minutes and you got half this fan base waxing lyrical about him. You're like, have you seen him before? He didn't really do much at Burnley for us to go and buy him, really. And then they're sitting there gassing him up. Then you got people gassing Archie Gray up.
Yeah, but the thing is, don't you feel sorry for the manager? Don't you not feel sorry for the manager at the end of the day? Because the manager's going to be working with what he's got. He's like a carpenter. You've only got the tools that you're working with, This poor man's
working. He's got to work with players like Johnson. When I'm arguing with people, we scored 19 goals, but we finished 17th. We scored 19 goals, we finished 17th. We won a cup, but we still finished 17th. And you've got somebody's fan base going, 17th and a cup is what we need. No, I want to finish as high up and win that Europa Cup so that more money comes into this club, so more money gets put towards the transfer budget. That's how the league works. The further up you get, the more prize money you get. You win something like an FA Cup, a League Cup, a Champions League. You get more money. You don't get all that money sitting in 17th. Here goes your 30 mil. Okay, thanks. So what does first place get? Second place, third, fourth, fifth, down to 10th. They get like millions of pounds.
There are players that can be upskilled, but normally that does happen when they're younger, right? But again, for me, it's this notion. I see, you can see the people that don't really engage before they voice their opinion. I see things like, who has Frank made better? And you're like, sorry,
4 months.
Do you think Frank comes in and makes Bergvall a top footballer in 4 months? Is that how people think this works? Like, by the way, a coach isn't just about improving individual players. It's about improving the system and the results and the team, right? It's not. So when I see all these people go, who's he improved? And I sit there and I think, you've never been to a coaching session in your life. You've never been coached. You've never, go and watch some documentaries about coaching. Go and watch coaches talk on podcasts, because this is just not what happens. And we're expecting it from everyone. Oh, here's a new one. Oh, but Thomas Frank wanted Brennan Johnson at Brentford all those years ago. So he'll love him. He doesn't play him, does he? Doesn't start him unless everyone's
I've had the argument. He hasn't played much, but he scored 4 goals. Yeah, all right.
It's honestly, let's just see. This guy, I totally disagree with you, Philly. A different manager might notice where a particular one didn't. But Adekunle, the problem you've got there is you will judge who has improved over time, Adekunle. When you're saying, imagine, what do you think right now, Adekunle? What would Pochettino have done with Graham Bergvall that Frank hasn't? You tell me. What would you be? What do you think you'd be seeing now if Poch was the manager? And this is the funny thing, guys. Anyone remember how long it actually took Poch to get going?
5 months.
A year.
A year.
First 5-6 months was poor, right?
Yeah,
his job was saved by that Harry Kane free kick.
Right. So he takes 5-6 months to get going. And then the first year was we got better as the season went on and ended up finished 5th or 6th, whatever it was. But isn't it funny how the brain from fans only remembers the good bit in the middle? They don't remember the shit bit at the end and the shit bit at the beginning. And that's what Frank's up against. That's what Thomas Frank is up against. You're up against fans that don't understand. He says he's been part of a coaching team, but straight away goes, imagine what he would have done with Vuskovic.
Another one that's really getting me, Savva. Another one that really gets me at the moment is But Ange's first 10 games, look what he did. Oh my God, really? Sorry, man.
So the other thing about Moore, that we have to understand when people are like, oh, he's, or look at what he's doing. You have to understand where they are now, and maybe in 2 or 3 years' time, Moore will be, a really good player who will be part of Tottenham's first team squad. And there is the reality that with young players, they need opportunities to step up. Young players, if you give them, if you say reach this level and they're capable, they'll reach it. They won't go here. They won't go up here. They'll hit the level that you demonstrate them, unless they're exceptional, unless they're hearing them out.
That's what I was going to say. When fans,
wait a minute, Corey, wait a minute. So you need to keep giving them those opportunities to show that they can level up. Now, I think that some of our youngsters should probably be in our first team squad and be given 10, 15 minutes to show whether they can step up in the Premier League. Not starting, not Gray and Bergvall starting. Lancashire is a really good example, right? We could have kept Lancashire and he could have played 10, 15 minutes. I think there's a good argument that Scarlett should have been given 10 or 15 minutes in games to see if he can step up. The reality is, though, he probably isn't. And then what do? You sell, we move on to the next one. But whilst you're doing that, you need to buy the proper players and not hoping that this guy is going to be one of the 0.1%. Sorry, Corey.
Yeah, we've done it with so many players.
Sorry, Corey. Let me take this. Rain,
Hang on, Philly. Hang on, Philly.
Scarlett didn't make it at Oxford. So what makes you think he'll play against PSG and do something?
Philly, hang on, mate. Corey was waiting and.
Sorry, I know. Sorry.
Go on.
Since Kane, we have done this with so many players, haven't we? Like, oh yeah, so and so in the midfield's going to make it. We play them, and then they realise you can't really push the 5-yard ball together. Then we go out and sign players that either go down with their team and stand out with, a higher XG. I hate that terminology, XG nowadays. I use my eyes to watch football, not look at charts on a phone. And then I sit there, and when fans go on about who's he upskilled and stuff like this and done things with, and a manager's been here 4 months, then I hear the argument, oh, but Ange's first 10 games here, it took us 97 minutes to find an equaliser versus Sheffield United. Went out the cup to Fulham when he made 9 changes. And then you get fans this season going, oh, but we went out the cup to Newcastle. I recall last season going out the cup to Liverpool, struggling to beat Tamworth. A team made of plumbers, electricians, and shop workers, real men with real jobs playing love for the sport. And then I sit there and I've got to ask some of these fans, like, yeah, your boy Ange lasted that long at Forest, didn't he? Goes to show that he didn't know what he was doing. At least with a coach and a manager like Frank, he's been in and around the game. He understands it better, I believe. And then who's he upskilled? Tony, Watkins, scouted players like Ibuemo at the back end of France. The guy with his coach and
Damsgaard, Rico Henry, Collins, Pinnock, Yanel,
he's probably brought his little book of scouting with him, didn't he? Like, these players I like the look of. So we might actually start seeing some of these players that he's taken an eye on. Like, Frank doesn't stop thinking about football. He's always turned on about football. I reckon this guy's probably doing what I do, sit with like 2 screens on about 5 different matches at a time, wondering where the next big kid is in the Bulgarian league.
I'm not so sure that's true. I'm not so sure that's true. I do think as fans, we still have this romantic notion of a manager as like the king of the football club, and I don't think that's what happens. And I don't think Frank, the noises that I've heard from Frank, especially in the summer. Do you remember in the summer him saying about his relationship with the transfer team and the way that they were behaving, and that he wasn't getting feedback or the quality from them that he had at Brentford over those years. It was a very, very polite way of saying they're not doing their job properly, because I don't think Frank is the king of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. I think
it's not a thing, but he's a major part of what's going on.
Yeah, but let's not pretend that Frank is going to be the one who's doing the scouting, because he can't.
Oh, no,
It has to be, there has to be a transfer team that goes out and does that work and does that job. And Frank's job is to manage to manage the first team. I don't know whether he has interaction with the youth setup, but I do see I do keep hearing from fans, oh, give the manager what he wants, back the manager. That's all fine, but the reality is he's not going to be the one who does the scouting.
But then you've got people like Lang that are still here. You're like, the guy couldn't scout a chocolate bar.
Right, Corey, I love this notion. Big up. Sorry, man, I'm going to step on this one. Sorry, Savva, I know this one's for you. This one is a Lubo special, by the way, coming up. Here we go. Right. Paratici's just come in, yeah? Right. I said this earlier, Rain, yeah? This is the time where Tottenham can use Daniel Levy as a throw him under the bus situation. And they can say that Daniel Levy was the reason that Paratici couldn't buy certain players. Because when Paratici came in, we were linked to Dusan Vlahovic. I remember Spurs being linked to Dusan Vlahovic, and they had £70 million. That was the fee that they wanted. I remember Spurs also being linked with the guy that was at the guy made of glass here. That's at Arsenal right now, the left back, the centre back that they have. He's injured all the time now. We were interested in him before we bought Emerson Royale. So there were transfer talks here without that. Were impacted maybe by Daniel Levy, so they could basically use Daniel Levy as a scapegoat and give the money to Paratici, and let me see what Paratici is doing, because this is the time where a lot of fans before he came back were saying that he can bring in good players. So now's the time for him to implement it. Let me see what Paratici can do. There was no more excuses about the money situation because Daniel Levy's gone. So let me see how good Paratici is as a scout. And another thing that Savva said earlier about, it's not about the players coming in, it's the players going out. And Paratici, and I'm going to tell this to any fan out there, is notoriously a bad seller. Juventus lost a lot of money with Paratici as technical director at Juventus. They lost a lot of money on transfers. And even the first time when he was in charge of Tottenham Hotspurs, we didn't sell many players. We let players' contracts go. We paid them out of their contracts. So I want to see how good a technical director this guy is, because he's not as good as a lot of fans have made him out to be.
You've got to have teams there wanting to buy these players. There's not many teams out there that are going to take your Johnsons.
Yeah, but you're going to have to get hit.
Yeah, but hang
you're
on
going to take a hit.
We say that, right? Look at some of the crap Chelsea managed to get rid of. Right? Chelsea in the summer are just selling players left, right, and centre who have never done a thing in football, and they're just selling them left, right, and centre. Like you've got to go out. I hear you, Corey. I completely agree with you, but Philly is right on that front. You've got to take a hit, and you've got to actively go out there and find these clubs, make it happen, because there will be clubs that will take a Brennan Johnson and a Richarlison and Solanke. There will be, and we've got to make that happen, right? We've got to make that happen. And unfortunately, Philly, again, you are right. The biggest issue for me in the last few years with Paratici at this club, in the last 4 or 5 years, he can't seem to sell players on. He can't seem to move players on. He also, I've never seen him buy a good forward player. I don't think in all the time he's been at the club, I can't remember a good forward that he's bought. I don't know if anyone can tell me otherwise. And again, I will go back to what I said at the beginning of the season. We're going to see how much Kane and Son carried this club. We're going to see. Until we start acting like a proper club, we're going to see how much those two boys, for nearly a decade, all right, the Poch had some really good players with them. But in the main, those two have carried us for 5 or 6 out of the last 10 seasons. Because
definitely
those two will score bundles, create bundles, and you don't have to be a good team if you've got 2 top-class players at the top of the pitch. How many times were we crap, but Kane or Son dragged us out of it with a moment of magic, right? Weekly. We don't have that anymore. So now what you're seeing is this is the first manager that doesn't have either of them, so has to actually make a team that doesn't rely on one player, doesn't rely on 2 players. He needs to build a team that relies on the team, because none of our players are that Kane or Son level. I like Kudus. He's not that level. I like Romero and Van de Ven. They're not that level of caliber. Do you know what I mean? So this is where I think fans don't understand what a coach has to do. Yeah, you can get away with being the Real Madrid manager, by the way, right? When you've got Ronaldo and Benzema. It doesn't matter who it doesn't. I know they had class players. It doesn't really matter who you've got at the back end of the pitch if you've got them, right? We don't have that. So this manager is the first one that has to come in, build, coach, grow, develop players. And after 3-4 months, you've got all these people like the Marioses. The moment we go 1-0 down in a game, Frank out, you're like, is this our level of intelligence nowadays? Is this our level of intelligence? You go 1-0 down in a game, you got to go. You're out. Get rid of
No,
and
the level of intelligence, Savva.
Last year we couldn't eke out a draw, could we?
Go on.
But what I'll say is, you'll see it, guys. You watch. If we go 1-0 down to Nottingham Forest on Sunday, you watch. It will be the same old people. Frank out. This isn't good enough. Frank out. Because they're the same people going around the groups telling everyone we should be smashing Nottingham Forest 3 or 4-0. A team that have lost 2 in 10 games, but we should be smashing them 3 or 4-0. And guys, until we get to a stage where the fans, the board, the scouts are all on the same page, right? They've got to make us believe. But until we get to that stage, we're going to be on this carousel, just going round and round and round for years. Because
we haven't had no one decent since Hitchin, really, have we? Let's be honest.
Well, look, we've not. We are not. We are not aligned with what we want. You've got people like Adekunle in the chat going, "Oh, let's be fair. Frank will never play the free-flowing football that we want." And you're like,
I haven't got the players for it.
Where's that got us for the last 30, 40 years that I keep hearing about free-flowing football? Where's it got us? So I guess my point to this whole rant is, can we let a manager work? Can we let a manager have 3, 4, 5, 6 windows? Can we let him work? Can we acknowledge that he's going to have games like Chelsea and Arsenal? And yeah, they're not acceptable, but that's going to happen. We're going to have good games as well. We're going to get knocked out by teams that we shouldn't. We're going to beat teams that we shouldn't, because we're not there yet. If this is a journey, we've literally just put the sat-nav on and turned out of our road. We've got miles to go. We're in the first turn and everyone shits the bed. Look how many people shit the bed. Look how many YouTubers Frank out videos. Get this guy out of my club.
It's one that I saw the other day about that Man United supporting that. She's like, Thomas Frank isn't doing it. It's like, love, you support Man U. Go away.
Yeah, we need to be having expectations of the club as much as the manager. We have been sold. We have been sold in this club. There's a lot of people who've been indoctrinated into the idea that you flip the manager. And there's a reason for that. And that's because every 18 months, Levy flipped the manager because, let's spin the wheel. Let's see if we've got somebody else who can polish this turd.
Name generator here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we need to be identifying as fans where the actual problem is. You look at Newcastle, and everybody talks about Eddie Howe. But Newcastle went and got Ashworth. They went and got Mitchell, right? They went and got people within the club, within the exec area, who knew their jobs, who knew about football, and delivered what Howe could then use on the pitch. It doesn't happen by magic. My eyes went up, Corey, when you said since Hitchin. I'm sure you weren't including Hitchin as a good DOF. I'm sure you weren't, because
he's still doing better than what some have done since coming in, man. I mean,
I'm not sure. I think Hitchin is a major. I think Hitchin has been a major problem is a major reason why we've had problems for the last 6 or 7 years.
I know you're always up, but I still feel like what we've got now, I couldn't.
What's lived off Mitchell. Mitchell had a year or two with us. Can't remember how long it was, and that's where we got a massive influx of quality players. Right? We need to be seeing good players coming into this club. That isn't Frank's job. Yeah, that isn't Frank's. I don't want Frank in the summer worrying about what players we've got coming in. His job is getting the players working that we've got working well. Right? It's somebody else's job to get the right players in.
But he wants to have a style of player that he likes in his mold. So he's going to have to go to the scouting department. Right, this is what I like. This is what I want. Go find me these players. They have to work within the manager's criteria. The scouts just can't run up and go,
I think
look at
Rain's
this
point
guy.
is Frank's going to have say in it. Frank's going to be in meetings about it. But Frank's overall job is he's not the one that brings them in. It's like loads of people keep saying to me, oh my God, Frank didn't get rid of this player in the summer. And you're like, you do realize Frank's not the one in charge of selling players. But we can, Frank's not the one going, yeah, keep him. I want to keep all of them. And again, I think a lot of this, and I know you got to go, Ray. Yeah, thanks, bro. Take care, mate. And this all comes down to, again, saying it's the number of people who haven't actually taken the time to work out and to go and learn how a football, bless me, to actually take the time to work out how a football club runs, how a football club actually works behind the scene. Too many people think it's Football Manager. You know, too many people think it's Football Manager. Oh, Thomas Frank didn't sell Brennan Johnson. He must have wanted to keep him. Well, did anyone bid for Brennan Johnson?
No.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like you got to. Was there interest in him? Was there, all of these different things that we don't seem to.
But I love you, Savva, to pieces. I'm going to take a Sean Butler line. Big up Sean Butler. This is one of his ones here. Sometimes winning the cup here can be a bad thing for a club. And last year was case in point for me for that. Winning that Europa League was some people thought it was a blessing. I said that it was a curse because this thing here, gave fans delusions of grandeur for me. And this is why they won Champions League. I said Champions League for Tottenham would be bad because you don't have a Champions League squad, and you're gonna find out, that was like passing the red for someone to swim. That's a baby cup, brother. This is the big boy league now. You put on the big boy pants and you go into war. This is the Champions League. It's called the Champions League for a reason. You don't play with no little diapers and the little. Nah, this is the way the big boys play. This is what you're playing twice a week. This is why you need a squad, right? But I knew Tottenham wouldn't get the squad ready for this period of time, and I knew that Tottenham would be shuffling around and having to fit pieces here, random players there, because we weren't ready. This is why I kept quiet in the summer. I just let people talk rubbish and whatever, and just thought, you know what? I know that the squad is not going to be ready for the Champions League.
Really, what a good point!
This is what you're playing with now. Big boys now. This is a big boy league, guy. If you want Tottenham to be in the Champions League, then they have to be a proper club. Otherwise, don't participate in it.
What a great point.
When I watched Aston Villa, Savva, big Aston Villa, they went on the initiative when they got Champions League football. They went and saw, what's his name? Nana. When they got Champions League football, they went front-footed, and they used that Champions League as a stepping stone to buy quality players to bring in that they needed to get. They used it as what it was there for. But it seems like Tottenham just crave for the Champions League, but they don't do anything with it. So what's the point in qualifying for it? Which has always been my issue with Spurs. Wasted.
This is a great point that so many don't factor in. We won the Europa League and snuck in the back door of the Champions League, right?
Yeah.
It didn't mean we were anywhere near ready or actually a Champions League football club. So we're a Champions League team
on that cup run as well.
So when we're going into the summer, like when Benji's point was, we had a good summer. Well, you're going into the Champions League. Where's the Champions League squad? Like, where is the squad you need? Now, if you are Man City can lose a player, replace a player, lose a player, replace a player, right? The bigger clubs can go one by one, right? 2 by 2. Spurs, we're not there. Spurs at the moment need a window where you go, right, we are building a squad. We are building, not rebuilding. That word doesn't make sense. We are building a squad. And we failed to build a Champions League squad in the summer. We are going into games against Paris Saint-Germain with Bergvall, Sarr and Gray in the team. Now, when that is happening, don't anyone tell me that we are a Champions League football team. So when you actually look at what Frank's doing, right? Lost one of his 6 Champions League games, right? Fair play to him. Fair play to him. But all he gets is didn't beat Bodo. Like this notion that we should just rock up and beat everyone. And I just find the common sense seems to have disappeared from the fan base in the last few years. You know what I mean? I think
how much time does he get to coach? He doesn't get any time
Not
on the
a lot.
training pitch to actually coach, and this has always been one of my issues here. And big up Stelios here, but you've been a coach here, right? Coach needs the time on the training pitch to implement his philosophy.
But don't listen, Philly. Don't bring up other YouTubers and their.
Sorry about that. I love him to pieces. You know.
No, listen, I love him, but I don't want to get into.
But no.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Well, let's
No.
I
didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. I'm just saying, as a coach, as a coach, you need to be able to implement philosophies on the training pitches, drills and all that. That's what you get on the training pitch. But we don't get to see that at Tottenham Hotspurs because we're playing every 3 games. So it's Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday. So he's not got any time on the training pitch to actually implement anything, to go through any philosophies whatsoever, or training drills. So what exactly can he do with the time that he's been given? And remember, Spurs bought players late in the window. So they didn't even get a pre-season to do all of that. And so he was already on the back foot for me. And that's my issue with that one. I look at that and think, you're expecting him to perform miracles, but how much time does he actually get to coach these players? Because he doesn't get to coach the players on the pitch. Not for me.
I don't think you've listened to what people are saying, Mark. We're saying that, listen, the winning the trophy was massively needed. But the problem we're saying, Mark, is it's put an unrealistic expectation in a lot of fans' minds because this wasn't a Champions League team. This wasn't a football team ready to go and compete. It wasn't a Champions League team because we've been beating everybody and finished in the top 4 of the Premier League. It was a Champions League team because we went on a cup run. So no one's saying it was bad. Oh my God, we shouldn't have won a cup. Absolutely, we needed to win it. But it was... When you say it's the best thing for real fans that's happened to this club since the 80s, well, I don't know what
I'm not a real fan.
I don't know what real fans mean, but I'll be honest. Listen, winning that was good, but I've had better times as a Spurs fan in the last 40 years than that. So I feel like we've got to... Context is really important because otherwise what happens is people start going around the internet going, Savva says we shouldn't have won the Europa League. It's like, whoa, no, that's not what I'm saying. My worry was, are we going to kick on from winning it? And the answer was we didn't. The answer was we went lazy in the summer, and they've got this summer to kick on. But guys, I do want to wrap up in a minute if that's...
Yeah, I was going to add something to the whole European Cup or the Europa Cup thing last season. So last year, the competition was made so much easier. Let's not get this drastically. It was the Champions League got a whole... revamp it's not group stages anymore. It's a league table and where you finish, where you get, and there's no cutoff for teams to trickle down. 90% of the times when teams would trickle down from the Champions League would go off and win the Europa Cup. Seville did it 3 years in a row. Teams like Man United and Tottenham rated the 2 best teams or the 2 highest on coefficient in the whole thing. You'd expect those 2 to get to the final.
I'll run to in the bottom 6 of the Premier League.
Yeah. And then what gets me is also with the run going through, right? Couldn't be a Rangers team that for love nor money couldn't win in Scotland. Couldn't be a Roma team at that time were on their 3rd manager. And then lost to some small team in Turkey. All right, Galatasaray small, but you know what I mean? But like we got lucky to beat Bodo. And then you get this year, well, we should have smashed Bodo. Why didn't we? Oh, Frank shit. You do realise Bodo got the same amount of money as Spurs for qualifying as every other club. They went out and got some really good players to play for that team. So we're not playing the same team from last season. They went out and strengthened their team to sit above in that top part of Sweden.
Who would you say is better, Tottenham or Juventus? Just out of curiosity.
What, of history?
No. This season, based on the squad.
Who's got the better squad is the question.
Yeah. Who's the better team right now?
That's
Juventus or Spurs? Right, because I would say Juventus. Yeah? I would say Juventus. Juventus went to Bodo a couple of weeks ago, and only narrowly came out with a 3-2 victory. So how bad was that Spurs result going to Bodo, and coming out with only losing by 1 or by drawing? And how bad was that result in reality? Because Bodo are a very difficult team, and by the way, I think they just drew with Dortmund 2-2. Yeah. No, so how bad are Bodo?
But Philly, this is what I always say. this is like the Nottingham Forest game coming up. Everyone just says we'll smash them 3 or 4. We seem to talk like we're a title-winning team with the best 11 in the country. Like people going, oh, a nice 4-0 against Forest. What? When was the last time we went away from home and battered someone 3 or 4-0? Like, what are we doing here? Like, you know, and they'll, as I said, they will use this as a stick to beat Frank with. If we draw at Forest, right, or lose to Forest, it's all going to be Frank out again, isn't it? It's all going to be Frank out again. We're going to be doing this.
I would have taken us to beat Forest if a certain manager was still in charge. They've got rid of the manager who shall not be named anymore and brought in a manager that actually knows how to get something out of a defence and play a football.
He should have come in after what's his name? He should have been the follower from Nuno. The fact they went that other route, I would just call that what it was. But Nuno, Dyche was exactly the manager they needed because they're a defensive team, and he'll set up defensively minded first, so it would suit the Nottingham Forest team. This is why I said Dyche for Nottingham Forest manager, by the way, because I looked at the manager and I know a lot of Nottingham Forest fans were, let's get Silva. I said, no, this manager fits what the profile of the players that you have. And even Morgan Gibbs-White, bless him, come out and said, when Dyche went in, he breathed a sigh of relief here because he was like, finally, I'm going to play in a system that suits me as a player. And that's what a lot of players must have done at Spurs here when in this summer. They were like, Andrew's no longer here. I can finally express myself in the right ability. And
but my point, Philly, was that we just belittle everyone. We belittle every team we play. Like this whole Wolves and Fulham thing. We should easily be beating Wolves and Fulham. We've beaten both of those teams once in six attempts, right? We've beaten Wolves once in 6 attempts, right? We've beaten Fulham once in 6 attempts. Doesn't this tell you that when we're going, these teams are crap? These like people in my chat earlier, Forest are crap. Forest have lost 2 in their last 10. So that means 8 teams have failed to beat them from the last 10 attempts, right? How crap can you be? Now, if we were playing Forest and they had lost 10 in a row, I'd be sitting here going, yeah, there's no excuse. But this is Nottingham Forest away. They've got some powerful players through defence and midfield with the likes of Sangare, Douglas Luiz, Anderson, Milenkovic, Murillo, right? Igor Jesus up top's a big old lad. And we just go, yeah, we'll just rock up there. Sorry, we are not that team yet. But listen, I do want to end the show, guys. I'm tired now. Big up to DMB forever with a super sticker. Really appreciate you, DMB. Always good to meet this guy. Really appreciate you. As is Dean Law. Thank you so much, Dean, for the super sticker. I really appreciate that, my man. Thank you so much. And then Emma Morton with the super super chat as well. Thank you, Emma. Good afternoon to you. Thank you very much to you three for the super stickers and the super chats. Look, guys, I just think everyone needs to just take their foot off the gas, take a time out, use this season for what it is, and chill. But as I said, winning the Europa League has made people think that we are just going to win something every season. And listen, one trophy in 17 years should have us better. It should be drilled into us more that that's not the barometer. So let me just see who's live, and then we'll send some people over.
Give me 2 seconds, Savva. Let me just do. Thank you, by the way, Savva, because you put a thought into my head, and it's stuck in my head now, thanks to you. All right, and that is next week on Blockbuster Movies, Games and Television. We are going to do a show on the Karate Kid, by the way. Thank you, Savva, Daniel San, and Miyagi. So, I've been watching it and been actually brushing up my knowledge for next week's show next Tuesday. So me and Corey Boy are going to hopefully do a show based on the first 4 Karate Kid movies. And then we're going to be doing the Cobra Kai series. So if you want to come on, my friend, you're very welcome to jump on and have a good talk with us, man, and have a cup of tea and have a good talk with us about Karate Kid and your love of it.
Well, listen, look. All right, everyone, please get over to Blockbuster Movies, Games and Television and subscribe there as well. Guys, I'm going to send you over to Ben Kaufman, to the Kaufy Company. When you get there, please like, please subscribe, please say FHTV or Savva Raid. Either way, much love. We'll be back. We'll do something tomorrow, and then we'll be back with a watch along on Sunday for Tottenham versus Forest. Then we'll have the Spurs review on Sunday evening. And yeah, take care, everyone. Much love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.